Chapter 46. Demon Beasts. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen each picked up an old, yellowing book and flipped through. In Lu Yun's hands was a martial arts manual on saber techniques, named Black Tiger Saber Technique, a top-tier technique. The one in Xiao Chen's hands was a sword technique, named Blinking Sword Technique, also a top-tier martial art. As Lu Yun used sabers and Xiao Chen practiced swords, these techniques were tailor-made for them. How should we deal with these two chests of silver and gold jewelry? After putting away the Black Tiger Saber Technique, Lu Yun asked, somewhat troubled. B0XO. Each chest weighed at least 100 pounds, so would they carry one each, swaggering all the way back? That, of course, was impossible. This is simple. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Chen summoned a small, yellow cloth bag that seemed to have a self-contained space. In a flash, he stored the two large chests on the ground inside it. Lu Yun naturally knew that the small cloth bag was a sumi bag, though he hadn't used one himself. A sumi bag, although only the size of a palm, contained a cubic meter of space within. The space, though small, was practical. The price was also high, costing at least tens of thousands of taels of silver for one. Lu Yun had seen one at the Martial Academy when he was exchanging for weapons, but the 300 contribution points required had made him give up the idea of getting one. The weapon tower in the Martial Academy's Internal Affairs Hall had not only sumi bags but also sumi rings. The space inside a sumi bag was always the same, only 1 cubic meter. Sumi rings were different. The sizes of their spaces varied, but even the smallest sumi ring had 10 cubic meters of space. The rings in the Internal Affairs Hall weapons tower came in 3 sizes, with spaces of 10, 50, and 100 cubic meters. Since even a sumi bag was out of his league, Lu Yun didn't bother to ask about the price of the rings. A sumi bag is quite useful, it's worth having one. After all, when we go out we can't carry everything ourselves, Xiao Chen said casually as he tied the sumi bag to his waist. The sumi bag is too small and inconvenient. One was just considering when I should get a larger sumi ring. Xiao Chen gave Lu Yun a strange look and continued, after we deal with this and return to the Martial Academy, we'll divide it up then. All right. Soon, the two left the secret chamber. As they went outside, they saw Captain Wang, who was just returning. Captain Wang had a thin layer of sweat on his forehead, and his breathing was a bit hurried. After taking a deep breath, he slowly said, "That guy was too fast and knew the terrain of Black Tiger Village very well. I couldn't catch up to him." Xiao Chen didn't mind, but Lu Yun casually asked, "Who was the one who got away?" "Wu Xing, the military advisor of Black Tiger Village. He was ranked number 2, right behind the village chief," Captain Wang replied. "Wu Xing? It's a shame it wasn't Wu Yong." Lu Yun's comment left Captain Wang feeling puzzled, but he didn't explain. Instead, he lit a torch and threw it into the house. Soon, flames burst out from the house and spread to the nearby buildings. Watching as the fire grew larger and engulfed Black Tiger Village in a blaze, Lu Yun said indifferently, "From now on, Black Tiger Village is reduced to ashes. Next stop, Black Wolf Gang." On the way, Captain Wang briefed Lu Yun and Xiao Chen on the situation and details of the Black Wolf Gang. The reason why the Black Wolf Gang was named as such was because its leader possessed a Black Wolf demon beast with a 2nd-rank peak-level cultivation. Also, because of this demon beast, the Black Wolf Gang was able to survive the cleanup of Green Cloud County and settle in the Green Cloud Mountain Range. With a 2nd-rank peak-level demon beast as its leader, the Black Wolf Gang's stronghold was deeper into the Green Cloud Mountain Range compared to Black Tiger Village. As the three of them continued advancing, Lu Yun became more and more uneasy. This was because they were getting closer and closer to the inner circle of the Green Cloud Mountain Range, where the possibility of encountering demon beasts would become greater and greater. However, what was strange was that they had not encountered any demon beasts on their way, nor had they seen any small animals like hares. All these abnormalities made the trio even more cautious. Lu Yun even took off the tiger-head broad saber from his back, and held it in his hand. As long as danger appeared, he would immediately activate his aggressive aura, infusing it into the blade, and slash out with the legendary blade aura. Not to mention, this tiger-head broad saber had a pretty good grade. It could easily withstand all of Lu Yun's aggressive aura, and with the support of the aggressive aura, it could even slash out flying blade auras. Huh! Suddenly, Lu Yun's eyes focused on some bloodstains on the weeds not far away and the bushes nearby, which were very messy. These must be traces left behind by demon beasts and other large animals when they were hunting. However, we are not far from the Black Wolf Gang's base, so there shouldn't be any activities of other demon beasts or large animals here. Captain Wang said, puzzled. His words also cast a shadow over Lu Yun and Xiao Chen's hearts. The trio continued moving forward, and along the way, they saw many bloodstains and even some fragments of small animals' limbs, which were shocking to see. Are those footprints? Xiao Chen's eyes were suddenly drawn to some marks beside a dead deer. Lu Yun also turned his gaze to the footprint. The gigantic size of the footprints sent shivers down his spine. The prints were 1/2 foot deep and 2 feet wide. If they were indeed footprints, they were terrifying. What kind of beast could leave such massive prints, and how large and powerful must it be? Could it be that a demon beast from deep within the Green Cloud mountain range has come out? Captain Wang's face paled at the sight of the enormous footprint. If it was really a beast that has come out from the inside, there might be danger if we continue. P. Xiao Chen said indifferently, Captain Wang, if you're afraid, you can go back first. Junior brother Lu and one will continue. Haha, that's not necessary. Besides, we're almost there. The chances of us encountering a demon beast should be slim. Just then, Lu Yun suddenly pointed ahead and said, Captain Wang, look over there. There are quite a few buildings. Is that the Black Wolf Gang's base? Captain Wang hurriedly looked in the direction Lu Yun was pointing and soon broke into a smile. Yes, that's the Black Wolf Gang's base. With Captain Wang's confirmation, both Lu Yun and Xiao Chen smiled and sighed with relief. Going deeper into the Green Cloud mountain range would also be dangerous for them. Half an hour later, they finally arrived at a large gate. Inside were clusters of wooden buildings, which, judging by the size, could accommodate at least 200 to 300 people. However, to their surprise, there was no defense around the entire base, and it was incredibly quiet. So quiet that it sent chills down their spines. Such a strong smell of blood. Xiao Chen frowned. As the breeze blew, Lu Yun also detected the strong, pungent smell of blood that Xiao Chen had mentioned. Roar! At that moment, a beastly roar came from behind the gate, causing the somewhat dilapidated door to creak and the surrounding trees to tremble noisily. Chapter 47. Fierce battle with the third-rank wolf demon. Right when the beastly roar erupted, a massive black figure appeared like a gust of wind at the other end of the gate, its bloodthirsty gaze flickering as it looked at the three of them, Lu Yun. It was a black wolf with blood-red eyes that twinkled with a murderous lust. Its gaping mouth revealed sharp teeth, and its powerful limbs crisscrossed, pounding the ground with a series of loud thuds. Unlike the demon beasts that evolved from energy within the Myriad Phenomena Tower, this black wolf on the other side of the gate was a genuine demon beast. From a distance, one could feel its eyes shimmering, a sign of its hunger for food. In its eyes, Lu Yun and his companions were undoubtedly delicious treat. Or perhaps it was more accurate to say that virtually all demon beasts considered humans as food, an instinct that was imprinted deep within their blood, their bones, and even within their inheritance. B0XO. Calm, Captain Wang, you mentioned earlier that the leader of the Black Wolf Gang had a psychic black wolf demon beast. Is this the one? Lu Yun examined the black wolf and asked the Captain Wang beside him. I'm not sure, but if there are no accidents, it should be this one. Captain Wang drew the saber from his back and raised his own state to its peak. He could sense the powerful and dangerous aura emanating from the black wolf, and its soul-stirring gaze gave him an intense sense of trepidation. The unexpected has already happened. If I'm not mistaken, there isn't a single survivor within the Black Wolf gang. Shao Chun placed his right hand on the hilt of his sword, his gaze sweeping the chaotic scene inside the enclosure through the gaps in the fence. Inside, it was a mess. From a distance, one could vaguely see several dismembered corpses and dried, stained blood scattered around. All of this indicated that the Black Wolf gang had suffered a major disaster, and not even a single living person was left behind. The exact cause of this catastrophe was not something the trio needed to worry about. Roar! The Black Wolf demon let out an enraged howl. By now, there were already 2 deep trenches dug in front of it, and its claws had been worn to a sharp gleam. At the same time, as it howled, a powerful aura spread out, kicking up a whirlwind of dust on the ground. This demon beast has already broken through its bottleneck and become a third-rank demon beast. Be careful. Shao Chun had barely finished speaking when the Black Wolf's massive body suddenly shook with explosive speed, smashing the gate into pieces and charging forward with a fierce wind. Not good, it's targeting me. Captain Wang was almost certain that the opponent's target was him, as if it had identified him as the weakest among the 3. Demon beast senses were far sharper than humans, and they were able to rely on their instincts to avoid certain hidden dangers. Indeed, the Black Wolf demon's perception of danger was accurate, as Captain Wang was much weaker than Lu Yun and Shao Chun. Of course, even Lu Yun and Shao Chun did not pose much of a threat to it. But it was not careless, choosing to break through the weakest link. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the gigantic body of the Black Wolf demon had charged in front of Captain Wang. The powerful impact directly knocked Captain Wang, who had been fully prepared for the defense, back more than 10 meters. Puff! Captain Wang spat out a mouthful of blood, and the muscles in his arms and even the bones throughout his body trembled. His saber had been knocked away during the collision, and its whereabouts were unknown. This was just the initial encounter. If Captain Wang were to truly face this Black Wolf demon, the outcome would be obvious. Without the slightest hesitation, Captain Wang immediately called for help. "Young masters, please help me." Actually, even without Captain Wang's plea for assistance, Lu Yun and Shao Chun would not have stood idly by. The reason they didn't take action right away was because they hadn't expected the Black Wolf demon beast to target Captain Wang. But what just happened truly shocked them. Captain Wang was in the late stages of the Meridian Passage realm. However, he lost all ability to resist just by coming face to face with the Black Wolf demon beast. Such an explosive power was truly breathtaking. Lu Yun and Shao Chun didn't dare to underestimate it and rushed to assist Captain Wang right away. Roar! The beast's roar was like thunder in a flatland. The Black Wolf demon beast had already chosen Captain Wang as its breakthrough target, and the moment it blasted him away, it threw itself towards him with its enormous body. "I'm done for." Seeing the ferocious eyes of the Black Wolf, and its sharp claws and teeth gradually approaching, Captain Wang was scared out of his wits, his pupils dilating in fear. Boom! A loud, violent noise erupted as the Black Wolf's huge body was knocked back several steps. Lu Yun, who had been the first to save Captain Wang, was also blasted far away, his arms holding the tiger head broad-saber numb. A mouthful of blood welled up in his throat, but he managed to suppress it. It must be known that Lu Yun's physical body had broken through twice the limit, making him much stronger than martial artists of the same level. After entering the Meridian Passage realm, he had undergone numerous true Qi refinements, making his body incredibly strong. Even so, he had almost been injured in the confrontation with the Black Wolf. One could imagine how fortunate Captain Wang was to have not been killed earlier. Evil beast, die. Arriving slightly later, Shao Chen's sword light flickered as he slashed at the Black Wolf demon beast. The powerful true Qi and sword Qi hit the Black Wolf, causing its enormous body to stagger back a few steps and leaving a shallow mark on it. So strong. Although this black wolf is just entering the third rank, its strength is much stronger than a martial artist in the early stages of the true Qi realm. Xiao Chen shook his trembling right arm. At the same time, he infused even more powerful true Qi into his sword, making the blade emit sword Qi. Roar. After having its own attack blocked, and then being sneak attacked by a sword, the black wolf became furious. Its crimson eyes flashed with madness, and after a roar, it threw caution to the wind and pounced towards Xiao Chen. Demon beasts possessed wisdom that was not inferior to humans, but their rationality was far inferior to that of humans. Once enraged, all previous rationality and tactics were thrown out the window. This demon beast is very strong, let's fight it together. Lu Yun suppressed the blood that had surged up to his throat and also channeled his aggressive aura into the tiger-head broadsaber, which emitted a sharp blade Qi. He then fought fiercely alongside Xiao Chen against the black wolf. After a fierce battle, the two of them were knocked back simultaneously by the black wolf's huge body, both spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. The third-rank demon beast was indeed incredibly powerful. Its rock-hard defense alone had weakened Xiao Chen and Lu Yun's attacks significantly. Furthermore, it possessed ferocious, primal strength, making Lu Yun and Xiao Chen unable to do anything but attack. Defense was simply impossible for them. Moving a bit too slowly, the black wolf seized the opportunity to charge fiercely at the two of them, causing both to suffer injuries. Roar. The large black wolf roared angrily, its four thick hooves pounding the ground as it quickly approached Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. A flash of sharp light appeared in Lu Yun's eyes, followed by a low growl. 111 attack from the front while you, Xiao Chen, strike from behind. As soon as he spoke, Lu Yun leaped high into the air, channeling aggressive aura from his 8 meridians into the tiger-head broadsaber. A meter-long saber Qi roared out. Chapter 48. 7-kill saber technique shows its might. The moment Lu Yun launched his attack, Xiao Chen's figure also moved. Lu Yun leaped high into the air, and his tiger-head broadsaber was wrapped in a meter-long saber Qi, slashing at the black wolf's head. Zzz. As a crisp sound like steel colliding rang out, sparks burst from where the blade met the black wolf's skull, and Lu Yun's tiger-head broadsaber only left a faint trace on the wolf's head in the end. What a terrifying defense! B0XO. Calm. Lu Yun's face slightly changed. He already knew that the black wolf had a strong defense, but he didn't expect it to be so abnormal and terrifying. His full-force saber strike unexpectedly couldn't break through the black wolf's defense and only left a shallow trace. In his shock, Lu Yun dared not be negligent, and quickly withdrew with the help of the rebounding force. At the same time, Xiao Chen, who had circled to the black wolf's rear, also unleashed a fierce swordsmanship, attacking the wolf's buttocks and black back. Although the power of Xiao Chen's sword techniques wasn't as strong as Lu Yun's saber technique, its attack and penetration power was clearly more formidable, penetrating the black wolf's defenses and leaving faint streaks of blood on its body. Ayo-ho! Feeling bursts of stinging pain from its body, the black wolf roared furiously. Simultaneously, its powerful muscles continuously contracted, and its shiny black fur stood erect, releasing its immense power and stirring up billows of dust. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen's attacks had obviously completely enraged the black wolf. After entering its berserk state, the wolf's defense and strength had become even more terrifying. With a flick of its tail, it sent Xiao Chen stumbling backward. At the same time, its colossal body suddenly moved, almost turning into a streak of light as it charged towards the incoming Lu Yun. Humph! What does a third-rank demon beast amount to? Lu Yun snorted coldly, transmitting all his aggressive aura into his tiger-head broadsaber, timing his strike precisely, and chopping it towards the black wolf's gaping maw. Ding! With a resounding sound of steel clashing, the wolf's sharp teeth were only chopped off by one, and Lu Yun was sent flying tens of meters away by a shake of the black wolf's head. The black wolf roared angrily and continued to charge towards Lu Yun, But would Shao Chen let it have its way? Shao Chen jumped high into the air, and his silver-white sword blade shimmered with a sharp glint under the sunlight. With cold flashes of light in his eyes and sword chi roaring around him, Shao Chen took a deep breath, raised his 3-foot-long sword, and shouted, "With my 3-foot sword in hand, my life is determined by me, not by fate." A sword light flashed between heaven and earth. Although the black wolf was fast, it wasn't faster than the sudden sword light. Despite the wolf's abnormal defenses, it couldn't withstand this sword light that appeared out of thin air. The 3-foot-long sword effortlessly pierced through the black wolf's defenses and stabbed into its flesh. There was almost no resistance at all, and bright red blood immediately flowed out from the wolf's wound. Roar! An unprecedented pain made the black wolf let out a miserable howl, the sound almost shaking the heavens. Shao Chen's clothes were rustling, and he eventually had to use his true chi to block his ears. Shortly after, he had to retreat due to the tail sweeping from the side. Seeing Shao Chen's terrifying attack, Lu Yun sighed softly. No wonder he's a swordsmanship genius who could slay Meridian Passage realm martial artists at the time of entering the martial realm. However, leave the rest to me. As his words fell, killing intent surged like an ocean. In the midst of the surging killing intent, a beam of white light suddenly rose like a comet. Shao Chen, who had retreated from the black wolf's attack range, couldn't help but exclaim in sequence when he saw this scene. What terrifying killing intent, what vast true chi! As the white light soared into the sky, the killing intent surged like a vast river. Surrounded by pure yang aura and wielding his tiger-head broad-saber, Lu Yun had an aura of frigid coldness and ruthless killing intent around him, rolling like waves. Slay everything! The 7-kill saber technique is called 7-kill, but it actually only has 3 moves. The first move is to slay everything, and only with the determination to kill can one stimulate killing intent and enhance one's combat power. Now that Lu Yun's 7-kill saber technique had reached great accomplishment, his killing intent had long been stimulated, and it surged like a tide, directly suppressing the powerful momentum of the black wolf. The heavy tiger-head broad-saber, under the simultaneous blessing of killing intent and pure yang aura, stimulated a red and white interwoven saber chi, possessing both relentless aggressiveness and cold attributes, all of which bombarded the black wolf's body. Lu Yun, who had perfectly combined killing intent and aggressive aura, burst out with a sudden leap of strength and speed at this moment. The black wolf could not avoid it, and even its terrifying body could not withstand it. It was directly chopped and flew by the powerful saber chi, and a terrifying wound appeared on its massive body. Roar! The black wolf let out a roar of anger and fear after being seriously injured by Lu Yun's saber, and at the same time, a terrifying shockwave spread in all directions. Boom! The surrounding buildings and trees were either blown away or violently shaking, which was extremely dangerous. Lu Yun, who was operating his pure yang aura to its peak, was already in a peak state, and after entering the killing intent mode, his spirit and willpower soared even higher, with a surge of powerful strength throughout his body. At this moment, he could even feel the sound of his blood rushing in his body, the sound of his heart beating, the sound of true chi moving in his dantian and meridians, and even the sound of his muscles pulsing. Strong. An unprecedented strength and control. He stepped on the ground, leaving a phantom behind. Then, another saber strike. Boom! The interwoven red and white saber light was as dense as water, stretching a full 10 feet, bypassing the black wolf's neck directly. It cut through the thick fur, wolf skin, muscles, and bones. Everything was cut through. With unparalleled speed, immense strength, and an unstoppable sharp light, this saber strike completely broke through the black wolf's defense. Its body, which was akin to an iron wall, couldn't withstand this attack. Shao Chen was dumbfounded. He had just used his first sword, and had already injured the black wolf. Moreover, this was just the first sword. Once his second sword came out, the black wolf would be either dead or half-crippled, leaving it to be easily butchered. But in the end, the finishing touch was taken by Lu Yun. This made him furious, but there was nothing he could do about it. He could only sigh. Captain Wang, on the other hand, was completely stunned. Both Xiao Chen and Lu Yun were just too strong. What's more, they were the kind of strong that became even stronger as the battle went on. Just a moment ago, the two of them had joined hands and still couldn't defeat the black wolf. But in the next moment, they could individually repel the black wolf, and even seriously injure it. Are all the disciples of the martial academy this terrifying? Captain Wang exclaimed, his eyes glued to the battle between Lu Yun and the black wolf. In the end, he only saw Lu Yun enter an extreme state, his speed and strength soaring dramatically, slashing the black wolf with one hit to its limit, then with another saber strike, the massive head was sent flying high into the air. All this felt like a dream, just as if he had been seriously injured in their first encounter and was unable to stand steadily. Chapter 49, The Mysterious White Cloud Villa. As expected, the 7-kill saber technique was terrifying, and the black wolf died without much resistance. Let's go in and see what exactly happened to the black wolf gang? Lu Yun, who didn't even look at the dead black wolf, was surrounded by a white aggressive aura. He turned into a white streak of light and rushed into the black wolf gang's territory. There were no survivors, only scattered and broken bodies and bones everywhere. The houses and buildings were greatly destroyed, but there were no traces of martial artists fighting. The accident of the black wolf gang should be related to that demon beast outside, right? After checking around, Captain Wang, based on what happened just now and his many years of experience, made such a conclusion. B0XO. Calm, that makes sense, but things are definitely not as simple as we see. Lu Yun expressed his doubts. There were no remains of a second demon beast here, which proved that the black wolf he killed outside was the spirit-connected demonic beasts of the gang leader of the black wolf gang. Logically speaking, after such a long time together, the leader of Black Wolf Gang and his spirit-connected demonic beasts wouldn't easily turn on each other. There must be other changes in this matter, but the specific reason is unknowable. At this time, Xiao Chen, who was standing by the side, spoke up lightly. Demons and humans have been natural enemies. There is simply no possibility of reconciliation. The Black Wolf Gang merely used some methods to temporarily tame the demon, but their methods were crude with many restrictions. It was inevitable that they would face revenge once certain conditions were triggered. This black wolf has advanced from 2nd rank to 3rd rank. Its strength far exceeds the leader of the Black Wolf Gang. It broke free from its enslavement, and the anger that had accumulated over many years of enslavement reached its limit. Coupled with the deep desire in its bloodline towards human beings, its slaughter of the entire Black Wolf Gang is only to be expected. This explanation is good, but since the leader of the Black Wolf Gang knew that there were flaws in his enslavement methods, why did he let it grow to this point and allow it to continue to live? Lu Yun continued to analyze. The breakthrough of the Black Wolf demon beast, the possibility of it being accidental is very small, or to say other forces are at play. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen's eyes brightened and he couldn't help but respond. You mean, the reason why the Black Wolf demon beast advanced to 3rd rank and broke free from its enslavement was because of others? Correct, but exactly who acted out, and what was their reason to destroy the Black Wolf Gang by forcing a 2nd rank demon beast to break through? These are all mysteries. At this time, Captain Wang finally interjected. Could it be that the Black Wolf Gang is the base of the White Lotus sect in Green Cloud County, and they deliberately allowed the demon beast to destroy everything in the Black Wolf Gang in order to erase some traces? Xiao Chen shook his head gently. Indeed, the White Lotus sect has this capability, but they don't have the motive, and whether the Black Wolf Gang is the base of the White Lotus sect, we have no evidence. Lu Yun nodded, agreeing with Xiao Chen's view. However, shortly after, he suddenly remembered the footprints they saw on the road earlier. Those 2-foot-wide footprints were obviously much larger than the 4-footed black wolf demon. A guess appeared in his mind, but he quickly suppressed it, truly finding his guess unrealistic. Perhaps I'm worrying unnecessarily. Lu Yun shook his head lightly. Without any gains at the Black Wolf Gang, only one target remained for Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, and that was the White Cloud Villa. The three of them searched around the Black Wolf Gang once more and gained quite a bit. After the distribution was completed, the three of them began to leave the Green Cloud mountain range and headed in the direction of White Cloud Villa. Not long after Lu Yun and the others slew the Black Wolf, deep within the Green Cloud mountain range, a massive body suddenly opened its eyes. Its eyes were like two still planets, emanating a soft light, deep and vast like the sea. It doesn't matter, it is just a small pawn that one casually moved. It's no big deal. Soon after, it fell back into deep sleep. The White Cloud Villa was located on top of White Eye Lead Mountain, in the other direction of the county. By the time Lu Yun and the others arrived at the foot of the Whitehead Mountain, the sunset had already spread across the sky, gradually turning into dark clouds. Captain Wang suggested, "It's already dark. How about we find a farmhouse at the foot of the mountain and rest for the night, and then climb the mountain tomorrow morning?" Lu Yun and Xiao Chen almost simultaneously said, "No, we go up the mountain now." The investigations of Black Tiger Village and Black Wolf Gang had confirmed that they had no connections with the White Lotus sect. Now the only suspect left was the White Cloud Villa. It could be said that it was pretty much certain that there was a problem with the White Cloud Villa. Even if it is not the base of the White Lotus sect, it must still have connections with the White Lotus sect. At the foot of Whitehead Mountain, one could vaguely see some lights from the farmhouses. But from halfway up the mountain, there were no signs of human habitation. However, from halfway up the mountain, various strange and rare medicinal plants were planted, and they grew very well. Lu Yun even deliberately picked a few to try. Unfortunately, his energy value on the panel did not change at all. This made Lu Yun feel frustrated for a while. By the time they climbed up to Whitehead Mountain and saw the silhouette of White Cloud Villa from afar, night had completely fallen. At night, the White Cloud Villa, which should have been bustling and brightly lit, seemed quiet and dark, with only a few scattered dim lights guiding the far-coming Lu Yun and the others. "Is there a small population in the White Cloud Villa?" Lu Yun asked Captain Wang. Previously, Captain Wang had simply introduced the Villa Master Qin Meng and the second Villa Master, Yun Fian, of the White Cloud Villa, only briefly describing its scale. "Not many, but it won't be less than 200 to 300 people," he replied. But while answering, Captain Wang's eyebrows furrowed, as he obviously discovered some problems as well. It was early in the night, and logically, the Grand White Cloud Villa should be brightly lit. But what they saw was the opposite, which seemed abnormal. "There's something wrong with the White Cloud Villa. Young Master Xiao, young Master Lu, we need to be careful from now on." As Captain Wang warned them, he began to carefully observe the surroundings. His injuries from the Green Cloud mountain range haven't fully healed. If an accident really happens next, it would be a bad thing for him. Isn't this already within our expectations? Different from Captain Wang's caution, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen were somewhat pleased and excited. If the White Cloud Villa is indeed the base of the White Lotus sect, then the purpose of their visit is almost half accomplished. As long as they erase it, they can return to the Martial Academy. As for whether they can erase it, the two are not worried. The reason for this is their confidence in their own strength. Especially Lu Yun, who had just slain a third-rank demon beast, this confidence was even stronger. "I am aware that both of you have strength far superior to martial artists of the same rank, but the White Cloud Villa is different from the bandit camps like the Black Tiger Village. They have a lot of powerful." Before Captain Wang could finish speaking, a loud noise suddenly rang out in the quiet night. Chapter 50, Mid-Fall Whoosh, Whoosh, Whoosh. Countless arrows were shot from the pitch-black night like raindrops, causing the complexions of Lu Yun and his two companions to change drastically. Not good, it's an ambush. Always cautious, Captain Wang was the first to react, his figure flashing to shelter himself beside a nearby large tree. As for Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, not only were they powerful, but they were also very fast. With their incredible speed, they each found a boulder nearby to hide behind. B0XO. Calm arrows zipped and struck the boulders, emitting sparks, providing some light in this dark environment and allowing the three of them to witness the horrifying rain of arrows, which covered dozens of square feet. Moreover, such a wide range of shooting lasted for 10 minutes. If the three of them hadn't reacted quickly, even if they had true chi to protect their bodies, they would have been shot into porcupines. After all, defending against such high-intensity arrow attacks consumes a lot of true chi. It seems like they knew our information beforehand and set up an ambush here in advance. Lu Yun glanced at Captain Wang hiding behind the tree. Their journey had been kept secret, and apart from the county magistrate and Captain Wang, no one else should have known. It was hard to believe that White Cloud Villa had set up such a massive ambush without leaking any information. Looking at the sparks bursting from the boulders, Xiao Chen said indifferently, "Actually, I'm more curious about how a small villa could possess so many powerful crossbows with such great lethality." Morijin strictly forbade any power other than city guard and army from possessing small-scale lethal crossbows. Facing the simultaneous questioning of Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, Captain Wang could only bitterly smile and say, "Didn't you two say that White Cloud Villa is probably a base of the White Lotus sect? Since it has connections with the White Lotus sect, it's normal for them to have a large number of crossbows. And with the many informants of the White Lotus sect, it's not difficult for them to know about our mountain ascent." On the other side of the dark night, the people of White Cloud Villa were holding crossbows and hiding among the rugged rocks. "Temporarily cease fire and send some more brothers to check if they're dead," said a burly man with a full beard. This burly man was none other than the current Master Qin of White Cloud Villa. "Yes, Master." Soon, 3 martial artists with agile figures rushed over quickly. "Hee, what do you think of those 2 youngsters, Miss Yun?" The burly Master Qin grinned at a woman in white beside him. The woman in white had a slender figure, graceful posture, and was about 20 years old. She was the second maitre d' of White Cloud Villa, Yun Fian, a member of the White Lotus sect. A middle-aged man in a brocade robe stood behind her, appearing to be a subordinate, with a respectful attitude. If Lu Yun and Xiao Chen saw this person, they would definitely find him somewhat familiar. That's right, this person was none other than Wu Xing, the military advisor of Black Tiger Village. "Master Qin, don't underestimate those 2. After all, they are disciples of the Spirit Martial Prefecture's Martial Academy." Yun Fian nodded slightly, her voice crisp and pleasant. "Even if they are Martial Academy disciples, there are distinctions. 2 teenagers in their early teens at most have been in the Martial Academy for 1 or 2 years. Even if they are extremely talented, they should be at their peak in the Meridian Passage realm." Master Qin didn't seem to care, and he disdainfully pursed his lips. He was an expert at the peak of the Meridian Passage realm. After receiving help from the White Lotus sect, his cultivation had broken through the bottleneck, and he had become even more powerful. So, why would he fear 2 young Martial Academy disciples? If not for his overcautious second master, there would be no need for crossbows. If he himself took a bit of action, the matter would come to a perfect end. Yun Fian just nonchalantly told Wu Xing beside her, "Tell Master Qin about the detailed information you saw." Wu Xing complied and stepped forward, slightly bowing to Master Qin. "Master Qin, we must not be careless. Those 2 youngsters are not easy to deal with. One of them is highly skilled in sword techniques, and more than 100 bandits of the Black Tiger Village were no match for his sword. The other one is also terrifying. Just one glance could intimidate a strong man into paralysis on the ground, and even the village chief Song Xing of Black Tiger Village was no match for him. Not long ago, Song Xing had just broken through to the peak of the Meridian Passage realm, and he had more than 100 bandits under him, half of whom were martial artists who had entered the martial realm. Hearing this, Master Qin furrowed his brows. His understanding of Song Xing had stopped several years ago, when the latter was only in the late stage of the Meridian Passage realm. But back then, Song Xing's terrifying brute force made him almost as powerful as Master Qin. Nearly 50 martial artists, including a powerful expert at the peak of the Meridian Passage realm, were swept away by 2 teenagers. Even though he was arrogant, he had to put away his previous contempt. However, that was it. The gap between the Meridian Passage realm and True Qi realm couldn't be crossed by ordinary geniuses. Furthermore, he had the entire White Cloud Villa behind him, and he was not afraid of 2 Martial Academy youngsters. Apart from the archers, everyone else slowly approaches and surrounds the whole area. Don't let them escape. Master Qin ordered his men and turned to Yun Fian. Miss Yun, let's go together and see if they're dead or alive. No, the time is not right yet. Yun Fian said. Master Qin, use a fire arrow to deplete them again, and then rush to kill them once more. Master Qin frowned slightly, thought for a moment, found the plan feasible, and then commanded, prepare the fire arrows and wait for my order. It seems like someone is coming. Lu Yun, hiding behind the boulder, frowned. Sure enough, 3 shadows slowly approached from the darkness, gradually nearing Xiao Chen's hiding place. Xiao Chen remained still, his right hand gently pressing the hilt of his sword, silently mobilizing his true qi. Just then, clang! A crisp sword sound resonated, and at the moment the sword left the scabbard, a cold sword light flickered as well. Thud! 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 In an instant the 3 shadows fell simultaneously. Well done! Lu Yun gave a thumbs up to Xiao Chen, even though they were separated by the darkness. 1 sword, 3 kills. This speed and swordplay were simply incredible. Lu Yun was immediately astonished. When he had first seen Xiao Chen's sword speed during the battle at Black Tiger Village, he had been amazed, and now he was once again in awe, with no less shock in his heart. At Xiao Chen's action, a faint smile appeared on his face. In the dark night, the faint starlight did not add much brightness. Master, it's been 10 minutes since they left, and those who went to check on them haven't returned. There must have been an accident. A martial artist at the early stage of the Meridian Passage realm remarked, while others also looked at Master Qin. Master Qin's eyes flashed coldly in the dark night, and then he waved his hand and roared, "Fire the arrows!" Chapter 51. The Kill of Swords, requesting monthly and recommended tickets. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At Qin Meng's command, the prepared fire arrows were loaded onto crossbows, aimed at the dark figures ahead, and fired in unison. Whiz, whiz, whiz. Countless fire arrows shot out simultaneously like a torrential rainstorm, leaving trails of red fire in the stark darkness of the night sky as they landed densely on the earth, trees, and stone below. The dry foliage ignited instantly upon contact with the falling fire arrows, and the fire gradually spread, quickly encircling Lu Yun and his companion's hiding place. B0XO. Calm, these guys are really too cunning. Feeling the scorching hot air and choking smoke invade them from all sides, Lu Yun couldn't help but curse the caution and cunning of their opponents in his heart. At the same time, he had to summon his true qi to block the fire coming their way. Even so, he could still feel its intense heat. Moreover, due to the continual onslaught of fire arrows, they were forced to stay hidden behind the massive boulder. If they ventured out, they would likely be shot dead by a barrage of arrows. Thus, they only had one choice: to remain where they were until the rain of arrows ceased. However, with the surrounding fire blazing, they had to use their true qi for protection. As a result, when the rain of arrows finally stopped, their true qi had already been significantly exhausted, particularly for Captain Wang, who had only about half of his true qi remaining. Young Master Xiao, young Master Yun, Let's retreat for now and return when we've recovered to our peak state. It's already too late. Lu Yun emerged from behind the scorched, pale boulder, hurling a tiger-head broad saber in his hand. He was enveloped in pure yang aura, his eyes sparkling with an icy glare, resembling dazzling stars in the night sky. Charge, kill them all, and you shall be handsomely rewarded. Kill them! Roars of attack immediately echoed from all directions. Under the still burning firelight, one could roughly estimate that over 200 attackers, each robust as a bull, were darting between the stone debris and sporadic trees. In the blink of an eye, they had already arrived about 30 feet away from Lu Yun and his companions. Moreover, the enemies advanced systematically, as if specially trained. The sight of their organized charge was overwhelmingly imposing. If it were ordinary people, even if they weren't deterred by the enemy's numbers, they'd likely be terrified by their momentum. However, both Lu Yun and Xiao Chen were not average martial artists. Although surprised at this formation, they were undaunted. Especially Xiao Chen, who had just experienced a battle of 100 men. He quickly regained his composure. Looking at the assaulters charging from all sides, Xiao Chen sneered. First an ambush, then a fire attack, and now an encirclement. It seems the White Lotus sect only has these tactics under its sleeve. With these words, he unsheathed his sword and went straight for the men charging from the front. As the phrase goes, a sword's icy glare can illuminate the whole realm, causing all in its path to perish. From the moment Xiao Chen moved, the glint of his sword flashed, blood rained down, and wails filled the battlefield. Everywhere lay lifeless bodies, cut down in one swift stroke. His speed was quick, but the speed of his sword was quicker, so much so, it was almost beyond belief. But speed was merely one attribute of his sword techniques. Rapid, precise, ruthless, flexible, and incredibly deadly. Every time he unleashed his sword, nearly no one survived the deadly stroke. Support, we need support, this man is too powerful. Upon seeing the brothers up front falling one after another, the people of the White Cloud Villa began to holler in haste. Especially when they saw Xiao Chen, like a phantom in the night, reaping group upon group of lives, they became even more flustered and terrified. Yet the ones seized with panic were not only them. In another direction, Lu Yun charged forward, wielding a tiger-head broad saber nearly half his height. Killing intent surged, aggressive aura crisscrossed, leaving severed limbs and dismembered bodies in his wake. If Xiao Chen was breaking through the crowd's encirclement in a line, Lu Yun was doing it across an area. Swift as the sword, heavy yet resolute like the broad saber, each had their advantages. Combined with Xiao Chen's speedy movements and sword techniques, the damage they caused was not inferior to that of Lu Yun's. But from the scene, Lu Yun seemed more ferocious, rampaging almost unreservedly. Only advancing, not retreating, only attacking, not defending. Lu Yun's brutal assault, along with the fact that nearly no one lived under his blade, instantly terrified the people of White Cloud Villa, discouraging them from advancing. They began fleeing in the opposite direction. Most of them, although being martial artists, far stronger than ordinary people, lost the will to fight in face of a strong enemy who cleaved through Meridian Passage realm martial artists as easily as chopping vegetables. Those charging at the forefront, most aware of the strength of Xiao Chen and Lu Yun, were the fastest to crumble, starting to retreat. See this, people coming forward to the fight also withdrew. For a moment, hundreds of people were being chased and run down by two young boys. This scene was indeed bizarre. Suddenly, the towering figure of Qin Meng emerged, blocking the flustered crowd trying to flee. With just one palm strike, he killed the nearest martial artist, his cold gaze sweeping over the crowd, instantly stabilizing the chaotic scene. Qin Meng looked at the crowd, his eyes revealing a killing intent. Whoever dares to retreat, kill without mercy. Upon hearing this, the crowd immediately felt a burst of killing intent that chilled them to the bone, as if they were locked onto by a peerless beast. a rather powerful martial artist, likely at the Meridian Passage realm, explained in a low voice. Villa Master, it's not that the brothers are afraid of death, but the two young boys are too terrifying. Some of the brothers were killed by horrifying sword chi and broad saber chi before they could even reach them. There's only two of them, no matter how strong, they have their limit. I cannot believe they will never exhaust themselves. Go attack them again for me. Towards the end, Qin Mengs yelled almost hysterically. After being threatened and tempted, the people of White Cloud Villa, who were already terrified, had no choice but to rally and charge again. This time, their dismay and fear were gone and had instead turned into madness and bloodlust. Attacking might mean death, while retreating guaranteed it, and an extremely painful one at that. Compared to former, they feared the latter more. So for once, they all regained morale and prepared for the unknown enemies they were up against. Only by playing this out could they hope for a chance of survival. Haha, good job coming. Watching the people of White Cloud Villa swarm back, Lu Yun's sanguinary eyes revealed a sliver of chilling light, a killing intent manifested, and the tiger-head broad saber seething with alternating red and white saber chi. Once unleashed, the 7 kills technique radiates indomitable light. Why not slaughter all under heaven? In an instant, Lu Yun felt an endless surge of fighting spirit welling up in his chest, as he charged forward wrapped up in a powerful turbulent aggressive aura. The great slaughter accomplished by Lu Yun, who had not yet committed many killings, made his surrounding killing intent extremely strong. From a distance, it gave off a chilling intent, enough to make one's soul shudder. Under such conditions, even a martial artist of the same realm as him might only be able to exert 70% or 80% of their full strength. As for these lowly pawns ranging from Enter Martial Realm to Meridian Passage Realm, they were incredibly suppressed. Most of them were so terrified they could barely hold onto their weapons. Chapter 52. Battle of the True Qi Realm. Soon, Lu Yun had killed nearly 100 people alone. As he executed more people with the 7-kill saber technique, the accumulated killing intent became stronger, and the increase in his strength became even more terrifying. At the same time, under the influence of killing intent, his entire state would become even more frenzied. However, since Lu Yun used energy points to directly enhance his 7-kill saber technique, this enhancement was extremely perfect, and he directly obtained the memory of controlling and using killing intent from his memory. Therefore, he did not experience the side effect of becoming more insane as he fought. However, the killing intent still had other effects on him, such as making Lu Yun extremely excited, with a hint of crimson in his eyes, filled with soaring fighting and killing intent. B0XO. Calm between the flickering sword lights, the bloody severed heads and limbs flew out. Master Qin, it's time to give the order. Seeing Lu Yun getting stronger and stronger, Yun Fian furrowed her brows and reminded Qin Meng. These two young men are indeed not ordinary martial academy disciples and are indeed worth making some sacrifices. Qin Meng sighed softly and immediately waved his hand to signal the more than 100 crossbowmen behind him to shoot arrows. Suddenly, a rain of arrows fell like a storm. The first ones to suffer were the remaining people of White Cloud Villa, who had fought side by side with Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, completely exposing their backs to White Cloud Villa and their villa master. They never expected to be betrayed by the people they trusted. Just like that, after a round of arrow rain, those people from White Cloud Villa were all turned into hedgehogs, dying extremely miserably. Although Captain Wang was a martial artist in the late stage of the Meridian Passage realm, ordinary arrows didn't pose much threat to him. However, under the ferocious arrow rain, he was also shot several times. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and managed to find a cover at his side, surviving in the end. The arrows kept shooting through the quiet night like meteors, seemingly trying to kill Lu Yun and the others completely, wave after wave, without stopping. Such a ruthless heart! Although Lu Yun and his companions attacked without mercy, it was because they were enemies, adversaries with no chance of reconciliation. The only way to resolve this was to decide life and death. But the people of the White Cloud Villa completely treated their own people as pawns and even crushed them with their own hands, which was extremely cruel. In the state of rage and extreme excitement, Lu Yun's aggressive aura burst out, slashing out a greatsword energy that was about 10 meters long, breaking all the meteor-like arrows in front of him. He leaped high into the air and went straight to the crossbowmen hiding in front. Lu Yun's explosion was too strong and caught them off guard, causing the neat and orderly crossbowmen to suddenly become chaotic and unable to stop the attack any longer. At this moment, Xiao Chen finally let out a sigh of relief, took a deep breath, and calmly adjusted his racing heartbeat. Then, he glanced at the darkness ahead, his eyes filled with cold light. He tapped his feet lightly, and his whole body instantly rushed forward at a fast speed. His steps were very ethereal, and his speed was even faster, as if he had turned into wind and light. In a blink of an eye, he crossed dozens of meters and charged into the chaotic crossbowmen. A wolf entering a flock of sheep is already a disaster. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen were not wolves, but tigers. Once they entered the flock of chaotic sheep, the outcome was clear. Qin Meng, Yun Fian, and the others had been watching the scene, turning a deaf ear to the screams in the dark night. At this moment, Qin Meng's eyes suddenly brightened, and his robust figure flashed, bringing a strong wind as he appeared behind Lu Yun. He pushed his thick palms horizontally, and a terrifying wave of boundless true qi rolled towards Lu Yun like a sea god. "Humph, you finally can't help but take action." Lu Yun had deliberately revealed a flaw earlier, not expecting that the opponent would take the bait and sneak attack from behind. He didn't hesitate and took advantage of the killing intent and fighting spirit he had accumulated earlier. He slashed horizontally with his sword, setting off a powerful aggressive aura and killing intent. Boom! True Qi realm was indeed terrifying, as Lu Yun's sword was pushed back by the opponent's powerful palm force, and he was blown away by the immense momentum. "You little brat, you've killed so many of my brothers, one won't let you off today." Master Qin's loud voice, filled with rage and fury, stirred up an astonishing surging blood flow. Unfortunately, such momentum had no effect on Lu Yun, as the killing intent that he was currently enveloped in was enough to counter it. The previous collision had left Lu Yun at a disadvantage, but it was actually only because the opponent took the initiative and advantage of a sneak attack. "You turned a sneak attack into something so righteous, your face is thicker than a city wall." Lu Yun sneered coldly, and immediately poured all his aggressive aura and killing intent into the blood-stained tiger-head broad saber. The sword energy suddenly surged, tearing apart the silent night like lightning. The dazzling cold light, like the sickle of the god of death, made everyone's soul feel a cold breath, while their bodies were filled with a burning sensation. "Huh?" Qin Meng's face suddenly changed as he could feel the power and terror of this sword, his heart filled with shock and disbelief. It's not only because the martial artist in the true Qi realm had more true Qi, but also because the refined true Qi was more powerful that made it difficult for the Meridian Passage realm genius to challenge them. But now, the boy in front of him, who was only in the late stage of the Meridian Passage realm, actually made him feel great anxiety and danger. "I thought I had already paid enough attention to you, but apparently, one still underestimated you." Qin Meng took a deep breath, no longer daring to be careless. He quickly drew the big sword from his back, and his refined true Qi surged, slashing out another mighty sword. Boom! Under the collision of powerful sword energies, the surrounding trees and rocks went flying, and the twinkling sparks illuminated the dark night. "Little guy, your strength is pretty good. It's a bit of a waste to kill you like this, but you've killed so many of my brothers. Today, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's public or private, one must kill you." Qin Meng's sword moves were as resounding as thunder, accompanied by the flashes of coldness in his eyes, a fierce killing intent that was incredibly intimidating. First, let's not talk about whether you are really avenging your men. Make sure you can survive under my sword first. Upon hearing this, Lu Yun sneered, his sword energy turning even more sharp and menacing. With this, the young man's momentum became even stronger and terrifying. After some probing, he had already roughly estimated the opponent's strength. Only having refined true Qi once and barely stepping into the true Qi realm. In terms of overall strength, he was far weaker than other true Qi realm martial artists and significantly weaker than the third-rank demon beasts he had previously killed. Chapter 53. Killing all around. If I hadn't consumed too much energy earlier, one could have killed you with a backhand, given your strength. That's right, a weakling like you can only rely on a war of attrition to barely exchange a few blows with me. While suppressing his opponent's attacks, Lu Yun continued to provoke them verbally. Previously, when facing the third-rank demon beast, Xiao Chen severely injured the beast, causing it to go completely berserk. This allowed Lu Yun to seize the opportunity and kill it with a single strike. He was employing the same strategy now. B0XO. Calm, young man, I admit that your talent and strength are quite impressive, but such arrogance often leads to unfavorable outcomes. Although Qin Meng was somewhat annoyed, he was a seasoned veteran and skilled in the arts of deception due to his experiences with the White Lotus sect and the court. He wouldn't be easily enraged by Lu Yun's taunt. As he spoke, Qin Meng altered his saber technique, suddenly unleashing more than a dozen strands of saber qi. The sharp cuts tore through the air, making a sizzling noise, all aimed at Lu Yun. Unlike the true qi controlled by those in the Meridian Passage realm, the true qi wielded by those in the true qi realm was more powerful and refined after being carefully cultivated. Martial artists could wield it more accurately and flexibly, using weapons such as sabers or swords to unleash powerful saber qi and sword qi. As such, he had enough confidence to defeat or even kill Lu Yun, believing it wouldn't take long. With the initial onslaught from the archers, followed by the attrition of more than 200 subordinates, he didn't think that Lu Yun, who was merely in the late Meridian Passage realm, could hold on for long. His assumptions were not without merit. For most people or even geniuses at this stage, they would not have much true qi to spare, and prolonged battles would quickly deplete their reserve. However, his opponent was Lu Yun, a genius who had cultivated the mix-origin technique to an unprecedented level and reached the perceived truth realm. Additionally, he had cultivated the pure yang aura to great accomplishment, opening up 8 meridians. At this point, Lu Yun's pure yang aura was far superior to that of his same-level peers in both quality and quantity. In fact, Qin Meng was just a lowly bandit. With the support of the White Lotus sect, he had barely managed to refine his true qi once. With such a foundation and strength, he was destined never to encounter a true genius, let alone a monster like Lu Yun who relied solely on his cultivation skills. Massacre all directions. As Lu Yun activated the second move of the 7-kill saber technique, he seemed to be possessed by a god of killing. 2 red cold glints shot from his eyes, and his body was enveloped in a dense, faint red killing intent. The almost tangible killing intent caused the surrounding air temperature to plummet. At the same time, his in-body pure yang aura surged like a spring, pouring into his tiger head broad saber, and the formidable, domineering saber qi burst forth. At this moment, Lu Yun's not-so-tall figure suddenly became domineering and sharp, like a miniature killing god with an invincible posture. Roar! With a roar like thunder, he unleashed massacre all directions, transforming it into the most dazzling saber in the dark night, piercing through the air and shattering the darkness. Qin Meng's pupils shrunk as he stared intently at the approaching saber, his body trembling uncontrollably. Under the terrifying killing intent, his mind stalled for a moment, his body feeling as if it was restrained by some force. By the time he recovered, Lu Yun's domineering figure and the most dazzling saber in the darkness had grown infinitely large in his pupils. Why are you so strong?" After uttering the last word, a line of blood blossomed from his neck. Subsequently, his pupils widened, and the big head with a face full of muscles, as if dragged by some force, separated from Qin Meng's robust body and flew away. "To force me to use the second move of the 7-kill saber technique, you deserve to die." Lu Yun walked over and kicked Qin Meng's stiff body to the ground. He then looked down at the broken blade on the ground, slightly shaking his head in regret. "I used too much force, what a pity!" Just now, he concentrated all his spirit and will, infused the accumulated peak killing intent and great accomplishment pure yang aura into the tiger head broad-saber. The resulting power was too ferocious, and it ended up severing both Qin Meng's head and saber in one strike. However, this result was both expected and unexpected. At this moment, a sudden shout rang out, pulling Lu Yun's gaze back from the broken blade. "Where do you think you're going?" Having just finished off the last archer, Xiao Chun discovered that Yun Fian and Wu Xing had quietly tried to slip away. Did they think they could escape? That was simply impossible. Although most of the people in White Cloud Villa had already been killed, Xiao Chun and Lu Yun's primary target for this trip had been the White Lotus sect. If they let these two escape, half of their mission would be considered a failure. Planning to escape in front of them? Definitely not happening. Xiao Chen's figure flickered, and a sword light suddenly sparkled in the darkness of the night, instantly catching up with the two. Seeing this, Wu Xing immediately drew his blade, shouting, "Junior Sister Yun, go ahead, I'll hold them off." "All right, 111, make sure to take good care of your wife and child in the future," Yun Fian said as she turned and left. "Overestimating your abilities." Looking at Wu Xing, who had chosen to stay behind, a cold flash appeared in Xiao Chen's eyes, and his sword slashed out like a dragon. With no intention of drawing back, Xiao Chen's sword struck, not even bothering to glance at Wu Xing. He flew past his side, pursuing the fleeing Yun Fian. As soon as he left, a blood-red dot like cinnabar suddenly appeared in the middle of Wu Xing's brow, who was still standing with his blade. The cinnabar-like red dot rapidly grew in size, followed by a surge of blood. At the same time, Wu Xing, who appeared completely normal, toppled backward. His eyes widened in shock, as if he had seen something unbelievable before his death. "Demoness, stop!" Xiao Chun quickly caught up with Yun Fian, stepping on a large rock and leaping into the air. He passed over Yun Fian and landed gracefully in front of her. His cold gaze fell on her enchanting figure, as if looking at a woman in the midst of decay. Yun Fian smiled charmingly, her red lips gently parting like two blossoming petals. "Both of you can be considered heavenly prides even in the entirety of Ling Province. Instead of staying in a small flying spirit martial academy, why not join my White Lotus sect? There, various cultivation techniques and pills would be within easy reach, and your cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. Isn't that a much better option?" Xiao Chen calmly said, "How can evil demons like you be qualified to have me join you?" Yun Fian's lips curled into a smile, making her even more stunningly beautiful. She giggled. 800 years ago, the human race in the 9 provinces was under the protection of the evil demons you speak of. Without us, they would have long become food for the monsters. The law of nature is unkind, treating all creatures as mere playthings. You evil demons ruthlessly consume the essence of the human race for your own selfish gains, dividing and monopolizing resources, and even using humans as your cauldron to strengthen yourselves. How can you speak of protecting the human race with such actions?" As he spoke, Xiao Chen's eyes revealed a crazed killing intent, as if he couldn't wait to slaughter all the evil demons in his path. Chapter 54, Second Sword. Faced with Xiao Chen's indifference and cold gaze, Yun Fian did not get angry. She gently gathered her long hair that draped over her chest, let out a soft laugh, and looked incredibly charming. "Little brother, it seems you know a bit about the history from 800 years ago. However, have you ever considered that what you know might just be fragments and not the whole picture? Or even that what you know is not the truth? Demonis, do you really think I'm trying to discuss history with you, from hundreds of years ago? And your insignificant schemes to bewitch me, how truly arrogant and conceited! Xiao Chen disdainfully snorted, and with a flick of his finger, the 3-foot-long sword emitted a crisp sword sound. The sound of the sword resonated, instantly shattering the enchanting atmosphere around them. B0XO. Calm. The smile on Yunfian's face gradually faded, turning serious as she slowly said, "The gap between the true Qi realm and the Meridian Passage realm is far beyond your imagination, and not everyone can fight above their level like your companion. Moreover, 1 a.m. not some rootless thug like Qin Meng. Are you sure you want to fight me?" Xiao Chen was expressionless, unafraid, as his right hand gripped the sword hilt tightly. His true qi surged within his body, and the blade flickered with a cold light. Seeing this, Yunfian finally showed a hint of anger, and hummed coldly. A wave of her sleeve, and she soared towards Xiao Chen like a shadow, her jade hand gripping a pale blue longsword. Xiao Chen thrust his sword forward, and in the silent black night, the sword tips collided and rang out with a series of sharp, crisp sounds. Although his swordsmanship was strong, it was not enough to withstand the head-to-head collision. Xiao Chen was sent flying back. Yunfian followed closely, and sword qi bloomed on her blue longsword, cutting through the dark night that enveloped Whitehead Mountain. As Xiao Chen retreated, he successively stabbed several swords, hitting the sharp sword qi that bloomed in the darkness one after another. Eventually, Yunfian took advantage of the opportunity, and as she thrust her sword forward, her left hand formed a palm, striking Xiao Chen's chest and leaving a black mark. Xiao Chen was sent flying like a kite, but at the last moment, his sword stabbed out, hitting Yunfian's right side bladder space. Yunfian clenched her teeth and covered her chest, crimson blood flowing out between her jade-like fingers. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, staggered as he landed, his face turning from red to white, and then from white to green. His lips were a blackened color. Yunfian's palm strike was not only incredibly powerful, but it also contained a freezing poison. If an ordinary martial artist in the Meridian Passage realm were to take the strike, they would likely die on the spot. Even though Xiao Chen's swordsmanship talents were exceptional, and his strength was not inferior to a martial artist in the true Qi realm, it was impossible for him to remain unscathed. Yunfian mobilized her true qi to seal the meridians within the range of her chest to prevent further blood flow. Then, she looked at Xiao Chen, who had been injured by her sky-cold palm strike. Instead of being severely injured or completely incapacitated, as she had imagined, Xiao Chen stood silently in place, his eyes closed. He switched to gripping his sword with both hands, holding it vertically in front of his chest, with the sword tip pointing upwards. Yunfian frowned, wondering what kind of sword technique this was to hold the sword with both hands, sacrificing the flexibility, agility, and speed advantages of his swordsmanship. Based on Xiao Chen's previous battles, it was his ultra-fast speed, agile body movements, and extremely high-level swordsmanship that allowed him to kill dozens of people in White Cloud Villa without sparing a single person. So, why would he abandon his advantages and strengths now? Unable to figure it out, Yunfian stopped pondering and prepared to face a more difficult opponent. If these two were to ensnare her any longer, it would become difficult for her to escape. Yunfian rushed forward with her right hand holding the sword, her sword qi as glorious as a rainbow. In the blink of an eye, Yunfian came within 9 feet in front of Xiao Chen. She slashed her sword forward, and the wild sword qi tore through the air with a howling wind. At this moment, Xiao Chen's eyes suddenly snapped open. In an instant, it was as if 2 sharp lights shot out from them. Second sword! Xiao Chen softly shouted, his entire Bodis true qi flowing like dragons and snakes. With both hands gripping the 3-foot-long sword, sword qi surged violently, stirring up the silent cold night. With a swing of his 3-foot-long, sharp sword, a vast torrent of sword chi burst forth, surging like a flood towards Yunfian. Yunfian's figure was suddenly washed with the terrifying sword chi, her pretty face turning pale as she had no choice but to halt her steps. At the moment she stopped, countless rushing sword chi burst out all at once. On the ground, in the air, the sword chi coiled around like a dragon, making a sizzling roar. A decade of sharpening the sword finally pays off, as today it breaks the bamboo with the force of a rainbow. Shao Chen, holding the sword with both hands, suddenly moved. His figure turned into a ray of light, charging towards the stationary Yunfian. As the sword stabbed out, it turned into a dazzling, peerless sword light that pierced through the silent night, relentlessly thrusting towards Yunfian. The other sword chi retreated along with Shao Chen's figure, forming a brilliant and extreme rainbow tail. This was Second Sword, Shao Chen's compilation of numerous sword techniques, taking the strengths and avoiding the weaknesses based on his swordsmanship talent. It was much stronger than the First Sword. Neither the First Sword nor the Second Sword belonged to any level of martial arts. At this moment, displayed in Shao Chen's hands, it exceeded the scope of even the most superb martial arts. What's going on? Why do I feel a threat to my life? Yunfian, in panic, trembled her long sword, dispersing the surrounding sword chi one after another. At the same time, her left hand had no time to spare. With true chi protecting her palm, it shimmered with a silver radiance as she grasped and shattered the sharp sword chi one after another. Although Yunfian had many powerful methods, she hadn't completely dealt with those life-threatening sword chi when another sword light already struck. Just like a meteor piercing through the sky, the sword that broke the night made Yunfian feel horrified for no reason. It seemed as if this sword could penetrate her body. Her feeling was not wrong. In the Second Sword, Shao Chen's entire swordsmanship will was condensed. With every ounce of true chi and strength unleashed without reservation, all for the sake of slashing this peerless sword. It was only for the culmination of his years of sword training, his persistence and sweat to explode thoroughly. Yunfian's pupils shrank as she released her refined true chi without any reservation. At this moment, she had completely forgotten the saber cultivation youth who had fought fiercely and who had slain Qin Meng. She was focusing all her strength on dealing with the sword that posed a threat to her life. As Yunfian fully activated her true chi, she suddenly sensed something wrong. Her pupils contracted abruptly, realizing that something had entered her body. Although it was a solid object, there was no feeling of pain. No, I was hit by a sword. When was I struck by the sword? The astonishing sword chi erupted, crazily surging throughout her exquisite body, rampaging like a flood, destroying and annihilating her vitality. As the long sword was withdrawn, Yunfian's body involuntarily trembled, as though she had lost something, her beautiful eyes firmly fixed on the darkness ahead. There was nothing ahead, only endless darkness. She wanted to raise her hand, but found that her brain no longer obeyed her, and her body seemed to have crashed. Gradually, the light before her eyes slowly dimmed, and everything seemed to have been swallowed by the night, her own self also falling into the darkness. After delivering the final sword strike, Shao Chen too was completely drained, plus the injuries from the sky-cold palm. He could no longer muster any strength, his body slowly falling backward. At the moment his consciousness dipped into slumber, he faintly felt a pair of warm and strong hands. Chapter 55. Shao Chen's recovery. The one supporting Shao Chen was none other than Lu Yun. Yunfian and Wu Xing had already fled, and after Shao Chen caught up with them, Lu Yun didn't have time to clean up the battlefield, so he followed immediately. However, his speed was much slower compared to Shao Chen's, so when he arrived, the battle between the two had already reached its final stage. Nevertheless, Shao Chen's last move had genuinely shocked him, causing him to stand there dumbfounded for a few seconds. If his reaction had not been fast enough, he might not have even been able to catch Shao Chen as he fell to the ground. B0XO calm seeing Yunfian's dead body in front of him, while she had stopped breathing. It did not take away from her beauty. Lu Yun couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. Long legs, full buttocks and proud breasts, a truly rare beauty is wasted like this. Despite saying this, Lu Yun's eyes were clear and bright, without a hint of lewdness. Slightly shaking his head, his sight returned to the dark mark on Xiao Chen's chest. There was a cold aura emanating from the mark, enough for most people to feel as if they were in the depths of winter just by approaching. However, Lu Yun was unfazed. If you were awake, dealing with this cold aura wouldn't be difficult. But in your current state, you won't wake up anytime soon, and if not treated promptly, it could harm your internal organs. Well, then let me help you dispel this cold aura. With that, Lu Yun's pure yang aura surged out of his body, gathering on his right palm, and gently pressed it onto Xiao Chen's chest. As the pure yang aura entered Xiao Chen's body, the cold aura within him scurried away like a mouse seeing a cat. The pure yang aura, being the extreme of yang, was the natural counter of yin-based abilities, and it didn't take long for the cold aura within Xiao Chen's body to be driven out, causing the dark mark on his chest to gradually fade. Simultaneously, Xiao Chen's complexion began to recover, and his face shifted from blue to pale, eventually returning to its original rosy hue. It didn't take long for Xiao Chen to finally wake up. He looked at Lu Yun, then at himself, and whispered, "A drop of water shall be returned with a burst of spring. I owe my life to you, junior brother Lu. I cannot make any promises now, but whenever you need me in the future, one will do everything one can to help." Lu Yun's expression appeared a bit odd, and he jokingly said, "Anything?" Xiao Chen's face was serious as he replied without hesitation, "As long as it doesn't involve betraying my principles of swordsmanship, feel free to ask anything of me, junior brother." Lu Yun patted Xiao Chen's shoulder, helping him regulate the disordered qi inside his body, and laughed, "Senior brother Xiao, you're overthinking. Even without my help, your body would have been able to drive out the cold aura." Xiao Chen bitterly smiled. "Even if that's the case, not to mention whether or not one could recover this quickly, my swordsmanship foundation might have been damaged by 2 or 3%. His words were neither exaggerated nor fabricated. Against that cold aura, he wouldn't have had a problem under normal circumstances, and as long as he was conscious, he could slowly drive it out without damaging his foundation. But in a state of unconsciousness, everything became uncertain, and the final outcome might have been even worse than what he described. Lu Yun smiled faintly, not dwelling on the matter and shifting the topic. "Now that it's confirmed that White Cloud Villa is connected to the White Lotus sect and all the involved personnel have been beheaded, our mission is complete, and it's time for us to return." Xiao Chen nodded. "Indeed, though this mission was quite dangerous, it did not exceed the scope of our abilities." At the same time, he couldn't help but feel grateful for Lu Yun's presence, for without him, dealing with 2 true Qi realm martial artists would have been difficult. Then, Xiao Chen stood up, the 3-foot-long sword at his waist. After tidying his clothes, he looked towards White Cloud Villa and whispered, "We still have our stuff there. We have to pack it up." "Our stuff?" Lu Yun was slightly puzzled, but quickly understood and said playfully, "You're right, everything in White Cloud Villa belongs to us." With that, the two left quickly. All that remained was a battlefield that had been ravaged by sword qi, and the alluring female corpse on the ground, which neither of them paid any more attention to, as if it had been completely forgotten. Living individuals would hardly get a second glance, let alone a corpse that would soon be reduced to bones. On their way back, they encountered Captain Wang, whose body was covered in blood. By now, he had already removed the arrows from his body. His face was somewhat pale and seemed much weaker than Xiao Chen. Having the principle of benefits for all, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen let Captain Wang join their team. Without Captain Wang guiding them on their journey, they might have faced many more obstacles. Now that Captain Wang had been injured as a result of their mission, they felt uneasy not sharing their fortune with him, so it seemed only natural for the three of them to search White Cloud Villa together. After ransacking the place, the result left the three somewhat disappointed. White Cloud Villa is one of the richest households in Green Cloud County. They shouldn't just have this much wealth. Looking at the three barely filled chests of taels of silver in front of him, Captain Wang's brow furrowed. There were 3 chests of silver, which looked like a lot, but only amounted to about 10,000 taels in total, well below the wealth White Cloud Villa should have possessed. After a moment, Lu Yun suggested calmly, "If I'm not mistaken, most of White Cloud Villa's wealth was handed over to the White Lotus sect. The fact that we managed to get this much is already quite fortunate." Upon hearing this, both Captain Wang and Xiao Chen nodded in agreement, as it was the only explanation as to why a wealthy villa like White Cloud had so little silver. Lu Yun took out 500 taels of silver from one of the chests and handed it to Captain Wang. "Without Captain Wang's help, it would have been much more difficult for us to find the White Lotus sect's base and eradicate it. Please accept this silver as your reward." Seeing the silver in front of him, Captain Wang was tempted. However, he knew he hadn't been much help on their journey aside from showing the way, so he promptly refused. "It is my duty to serve, and I dare not accept such a gift. Please take it back." Xiao Chen, who was standing by, added, "This is not just a reward fee, but also for your recuperation, Captain Wang. Please take it." After looking at both Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, Captain Wang finally nodded heavily. "In that case, one humbly accept." With that, he respectfully bowed to both Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. "Haha, that's more like it." Lu Yun laughed, throwing the bundle of silver to Captain Wang. As there was a lot of silver, Captain Wang was naturally excited, so he eagerly embraced it, even though it strained his injuries. He didn't even frown. His joy was simply greater than his pain. Immediately after, he thanked Lu Yun and Xiao Chen profusely, expressing his gratitude in many heartfelt words. It wasn't until Lu Yun waved his hand that Captain Wang ceased his expressions of gratitude. It must be said that not only was Captain Wang smart and cunning, but he also knew how to get along with people. All of this served to invisibly narrow the gap between him and Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. Chapter 56. Return to Martial Academy. After Xiao Chen had put away the box full of taels of silver, Lu Yun said to Captain Wang, "We won't return to the county town, but go directly back to the Martial Academy. Captain Wang, after you return, report the situation of Black Tiger Village, Black Wolf Gang, and White Cloud Villa to Lord Zhao." "Young Master Lu, rest assured, I will report truthfully." "Alright, let's part ways here." In the dark night, the figures of Lu Yun and Xiao Chen quickly disappeared. Captain Wang stared at the darkness engulfing the two of them, lost in thought. B0XO. Calm after all, he was also a government official and had been immersed in the position of the head of Green Cloud County for more than 10 years. He not only knew many hidden secrets but was also very worldly wise. So after witnessing the talents and monstrous strength of Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, the first thing he thought of was to leave a good impression, but not in excess, lest it be counterproductive. He withdrew his gaze, regained his composure, and slowly left for the county town. The next morning, Green Cloud County Government Office. Zhao Wuji laughed and said, "Captain Wang, seeing you return safely, 1 a.m. finally relieved. Thank you for your concern, my lord. I am very grateful. By the way, Captain Wang, why did only you come back? Where are young Master Lu and young Master Xiao?" Young Master Lu and young Master Xiao did not return to the county town. They returned to the Martial Academy last night and specifically instructed me to report the events of yesterday to my lord. Captain Wang respectfully replied. "Oh, since they have already gone back, then please give this official a detailed account of your journey." "Yes, my lord." Captain Wang responded and then proceeded to recount the incidents of Black Tiger Village, Black Wolf Gang, and White Cloud Villa to Zhao Wuji in full detail. There was no artistic embellishment involved, The account was based entirely on what he had observed during their journey. Even so, it took him a full hour to finish, leaving his mouth somewhat parched. Thud. Upon hearing the report, Zhao Wuji had an ugly expression on his face and angrily crushed the teacup in his hand into pieces, splashing tea on the floor. How outrageous, truly outrageous! I let Qin Meng off the hook, and even allowed him to run a business in Green Cloud County. I never expected that he would be involved with the White Lotus sect. I was truly blind. Captain Wang's expression remained unchanged as he calmly watched Zhao Wuji, saying nothing. About 10 minutes later, Zhao Wuji gradually calmed down and ordered, "Captain Wang, take some people and confiscate all the properties of White Cloud Villa in Green Cloud County. In addition, investigate all those who have had dealings with White Cloud Villa. As long as I am the county magistrate of Green Cloud County, I will never coexist with evil cults. I will carry out your order." Captain Wang replied with a fist salute and left with his weapon. In the main hall, Zhao Wuji's expression fluctuated as he slowly said, "To be capable of killing true Qi realm martial artists across levels, truly extraordinary. Martial Academy." It took Lu Yun and Xiao Chen nearly 10 days to return to the Martial Academy. After completing their tasks, they each received 500 contribution points. Due to inaccuracies in the information, with 2 true Qi realm martial artists appearing, the difficulty level of the task increased. Once this is confirmed, the 2 will be able to receive an additional 1,000 contribution points. Of course, even with the capabilities of the Martial Academy, it would take some time to verify the details. After leaving the task hall, the 2 of them went to the pill medicine building together, ready to make good purchases. Only by transforming resources into strength can they be truly used to their fullest extent. On this point, both Lu Yun and Xiao Chen strongly agreed. This was Lu Yun's first visit to the pill medicine building at the Martial Academy. The interior decorations were rather ordinary, not as luxurious as the Precious Woods Hall he had visited in Cloudwater County. However, the items in the pill medicine building at the Martial Academy were not something a small county shop could compare to. Which 2 senior brothers need pills? As soon as Lu Yun and Xiao Chen entered the pill medicine building, a Martial Academy disciple approached and asked. There were many disciples like this in the pill medicine building, those who had just entered the Martial Academy for a short time and had low strength. They could not take on external tasks, so they had to take on some tasks within the Martial Academy in exchange for contribution points. 2 bottles of Meridian pills, said Xiao Chen, stating his needs simply. Okay. The disciple chuckled and immediately turned to look at Lu Yun. Lu Yun hesitated for a moment and then asked, "I want to ask, how many contribution points are needed for 1 bottle of Meridian pills and body-tempering pills?" The disciple paused, but still patiently replied, "A bottle of Meridian pills costs 120 contribution points, and a bottle of body-tempering pills costs 25 contribution points." Lu Yun said, "In that case, I also want 2 bottles of Meridian pills and 2 bottles of body-tempering pills." "All right, please wait a moment." As the disciple left, Xiao Chen wanted to say something but hesitated. Soon, the disciple quickly handed over 4 bottles of Meridian pills and 2 bottles of body-tempering pills to Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. After the 2 had deducted 290 and 240 contribution points, respectively, with their identity tokens, they left together. "Junior brother Lu, body-tempering pills won't help martial artists in the Meridian Passage realm with their cultivation. Why did you buy them?" Finally, Xiao Chen voiced the doubt in his heart after they had left the pill medicine building. "I have my own secret use." Lu Yun smiled mysteriously, without revealing anything. Xiao Chen didn't mind, as everyone had their own secrets. Upon arriving at the valley where the elite disciples lived, Xiao Chen said, "Junior brother Lu, I have gained a lot from this trip and may need to enter seclusion for some time. But rest assured, once I've dealt with those things, I'll definitely share half of it with you." Haha, one trusts senior brother Xiao's character. For someone like Xiao Chen, who was purely talented in swordsmanship, Lu Yun was inherently fond of him. Furthermore, after spending nearly 20 days together, the two had come to know each other's character well, even if they didn't know everything about each other. After exchanging pleasantries, the two parted ways. Lu Yun did not return to his residence right away but directly went to Duan Qing's courtyard instead. Courtyard number 1045 was where Duan Qing lived. "I'll be right there." As soon as Lu Yun knocked on the door, Duan Qing's voice came from inside. "Who is it?" Duan Qing asked while walking over to open the door. It wasn't long before the courtyard gate creaked open, revealing a chubby, round figure. Lu Yun, junior brother Lu. Upon seeing that the visitor was Lu Yun, Duan Qing's round face showed a pair of small eyes that were almost squeezed into a slit as he quickly greeted, "Junior brother Lu, please come in and sit down." Without waiting for Lu Yun's response, Duan Qing pulled and pushed him into the small courtyard. After Duan Qing enthusiastically poured Lu Yun a cup of tea, he exclaimed, "Hee, it's been quite a while since one last saw you, junior brother Lu. I'm truly honored by your visit today." Lu Yun laughed and said, "One had been out for a task with another senior brother a while ago, so I haven't been at the martial academy." Having explained the situation, Lu Yun directly stated his purpose for visiting Duan Qing this time. "This visit is not only for paying a visit, but also for repaying senior brother Duan's contribution points." "Don't be so polite, junior brother Lu is really too polite." As he spoke, Duan Qing's chubby little hand skillfully took out his identity jade plate. Chapter 57. Pure Yang Aura Perfection. Upon seeing Duan Qing's move, Lu Yun couldn't help but burst into laughter. Of course, this was because he knew a little about Duan Qing's character and nature, and knew that the other party was not after the contribution points. The other party had given the Meridian pill, which was worth 120 contribution points per bottle, to Lu Yun for 100 contribution points, and even owed it for almost a month. From this, Duan Qing's nature can be seen. After transferring the contribution points to Duan Qing, Lu Yun chatted with Duan Qing for a while, then left. B0XO. Calm. By the time he returned to his residence, it was already getting dark. This mission took almost a month to complete, leaving the courtyard unattended and covered in dust. It took Lu Yun half an hour to clean up the little courtyard, and after a hot shower, the night had completely fallen. Back in his room, Lu Yun refreshed and opened the panel. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit. Martial Academy. Martial Arts. Breaking Wind Saber Technique. Perfection. Non-promotable. Mix Origin Technique. Perceive Truth. Non-promotable. Pure Yang Aura. Great Accomplishment 47%. 7 Kill Saber Technique. Great Accomplishment 11%. Innate Talent. Level 5 Martial Arts. Late Meridian Passage Realm, 8 channels. Energy Value, 3. During this time, most of it was spent traveling and fighting, and the panel has not changed much. Lu Yun didn't care about it and directly took out the Meridian pills and body tempering pills he had exchanged from the pill medicine building. 2 bottles of Meridian pills, 2 bottles of body tempering pills. If it were not for the intention of returning the 200 contribution points owed to Duan Qing, he would definitely have exchanged all of them for pills without hesitation. Unfortunately, Lu Yun is not the kind of person who owes debts and can pay them back but does not. That is not his character. In his previous life, he hated those who borrowed money like a grandson but acted like a big shot when it was time to pay back. Swallowing the Meridian pills one by one, his panel started to change. +8 energy value, +8 energy value. There were a total of 20 Meridian pills in the 2 bottles, which altogether increased Lu Yun's energy value by 160. It was still an average of 8 contribution points per Meridian pill. Let me see how effective these body tempering pills are. After converting all the Meridian pills into energy values, Lu Yun began to take the body tempering pills. +1 energy value, Upon seeing only one increase in energy value on the panel, Lu Yun was momentarily stunned. Could it be an accident? He took another pill. +1 energy value. There was no accident, and only one contribution point was added. After a while, Lu Yun finally accepted this reality but couldn't help but complain. Damn it, this shrinking is too serious. It's almost a 50% reduction, which is too outrageous. Before, a single body tempering pill could add 1.8 energy values for him. Now, it had been directly discounted, making Lu Yun's heart depressed. It seems that as my cultivation level increases, the energy value conversion of the same kind of pill or spiritual object will decrease. When my realm reaches a certain level, body tempering pills may not even be able to convert into 1 energy value. Lu Yun thought darkly, always trying to explore the functions of the panel. So far, he hasn't fully familiarized himself and understood the panel. However, what he can be sure of now is that his idea of exchanging energy values with low-grade pills and spiritual objects has completely shattered. At the same time, he understood why there was no movement on the panel when he took those medicinal materials at Whitehead Mountain. Those medicinal materials were of too low grade and were not even considered spirit herbs. Furthermore, Lu Yun was already in the late Meridian Passage realm, which was why he didn't gain any energy value. That's fine too, it saves me from many unnecessary suspicions and doubts. As Lu Yun's cultivation improves, buying those pills that do not match his realm would inevitably arouse the attention of interested people. Although they couldn't discover anything in the end, being watched by too many ill-intentioned eyes would ultimately not be a good thing for Lu Yun. +1 energy value, +1 energy value. After taking the 2 bottles of body tempering pills, Lu Yun's energy value reached 183. Lu Yun now has only 2 martial arts that can be promoted. One is Pure Yang Aura, Great Accomplishment 47%, and the other is 7 Kill Saber Technique, Great Accomplishment 11%. At the Great Accomplishment stage of these 2 martial arts, one level of cultivation progress requires 1 energy value. This sudden increase of nearly 200 energy values is a good time to upgrade. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Lu Yun concentrated and quieted his breath, focusing his attention on Pure Yang Aura. Upgrade. It was still 10 energy values per upgrade. Consume 10 energy values, Pure Yang Aura upgraded to Great Accomplishment, 57%. Consume 10 energy values, Pure Yang Aura upgraded to Great Accomplishment, 67%. Consume 10 energy values, Pure Yang Aura upgraded to Great Accomplishment, 97%. Without any hesitation, he consumed another 10 energy values. Boom. At the moment these 10 energy values were consumed, an extremely powerful force was born within his body. Immediately after, it swept through his entire body, with a tough and wide meridian gradually forming. Almost half an hour later, the vast and majestic Pure Yang Aura wandered through it. The 9th meridian is formed. It didn't end there, this was just the beginning. After the 9th meridian was completely opened and Pure Yang Aura flowed through it, there was another rumbling sound from within his body. 2 hours later, the 10th meridian was completely opened, and the Pure Yang Aura inside soared once again. Boom! The movement inside Lu Yun's body became bigger and bigger, causing even more terrifying momentum. Almost 4 hours later, the 11th meridian was connected throughout his body. The surging Pure Yang Aura filled the entire room, and the temperature around it rose rapidly. Another 4 hours passed. Lu Yun completely opened the 12th meridian, and the Pure Yang Aura reached an unprecedented level. It surged through the 12 meridians like a torrential river, permeating his entire flesh. The explosive increase in powerful Pure Yang Aura instantly shattered his Martial Academy disciple's uniform, and even the entire room began to shake violently. Lu Yun, who was immersed in the state of enhancing his strength, didn't notice any of this. Even if he had noticed, he would not have been able to stop it, because he could not perfectly control the pure yang aura inside his body. Only by absorbing and integrating those memories could he perfectly control the pure yang aura without revealing any of it. Pure yang aura is extremely strong and yang-like, almost restraining most of the extremely yin qi. But among the disciples of the martial academy, no one has ever been able to cultivate it to perfection. It is due to both talent and cultivation resources. According to the memories absorbed by Lu Yun, in order for an ordinary person to raise their pure yang aura to the level of perfection, they must refine a treasure called the yang stone. Yang stone is a precious or spirit containing extremely strong and yang attributes, and is rarely recorded in the Morijin realm. From this, it can be seen how precious the yang stone is. If it weren't for absorbing and integrating those memories, Lu Yun wouldn't even know what a yang stone is. Chapter 58. The Peak of Meridian Passage Realm. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit. Martial Academy. Martial Arts. Breaking Wind. Saber Technique. Perfection: Cannot be improved. Mix Origin Technique. Perceive Truth. Cannot be improved. Pure Yang Aura. Perfection 3%. 7 Kill Saber Technique. Great Accomplishment 11%. Innate Talent. Level 5. Martial Arts. Meridian Passage Realm. Peak: 12 meridians. B0XO. Calm Wei Energy Value 123. Lu Yun checked the panel again, and after consuming the energy value of 60 people, he finally improved the pure yang aura to perfection. At the same time, taking advantage of the cultivation technique's breakthrough, he opened 4 more meridians to reach the peak of the Meridian Passage Realm. In the Meridian Passage Realm stage, being able to open 9 meridians is considered genius. 12 meridians is the known limit for a martial artist in the Meridian Passage Realm. Currently, Lu Yun has 12 meridians. According to the progress of pure yang aura, 12 meridians might not be the limit. Based on the cultivation progress of Mix Origin Technique, there are still 2 levels above perfection: Reach Profound and Perceive Truth. Of course, this is only Lu Yun's guess. However, Lu Yun felt that his current self was several times stronger than before. Even though I'm stronger now, one can't just go around naked. Feeling the cold air below his waist, Lu Yun finally had time to look at himself. He seemed to have grown taller, but his disciple's clothing was torn and tattered, barely covering a few private places. When he entered the martial academy, he received 2 sets of disciples' clothing. After putting on the other set, he no longer felt the chilly sensation. Although I've merged these memories, it'll take some time to fully assimilate them. Though his aggressive aura no longer made his clothes explode, he wasn't proficient in controlling it yet. But after absorbing the memories, it only took him a few days to master the perfect pure yang aura. Next, it's time to improve the 7 Kill Saber Technique. Consume 10 energy value. 7 Kill Saber Technique improves to Great Accomplishment, 21%. Consume 10 energy value. 7 Kill Saber Technique improves to Great Accomplishment, 31%. Consume 10 energy value. 7 Kill Saber Technique improves to Great Accomplishment, 91%. Consume 10 energy value. 7 Kill Saber Technique improves to perfection, 1%. At the moment when the 7 Kill Saber Technique became perfect, an even more intense cold aura emerged from his body, spreading and attacking his entire body, causing the temperature in the room to drop sharply. If it weren't for his pure yang aura reaching perfection, the amount of killing intent in the extreme cold aura would have been enough to freeze his internal organs. Immediately afterwards, a series of images appeared in his mind. In a battle between hundreds of thousands of soldiers, he transformed into a black-armored general. In a war that crushed life like a roulette wheel, he donned armor, wielded a blood saber, and charged single-handedly against the enemy, fighting 10, 100 back and forth. Enemy soldiers, decurions, centurions, chiliarchs, and even myriad units fell under his blade, joining the restless souls slain by him. as the lives he took increased, his expression became more and more indifferent, and the surrounding killing intent gradually changed from light red to deep red. With the blood-red aura enveloping the surroundings, the besieging enemy soldiers were shocked by the powerful killing intent. Their faces turned pale, and they fled in disarray, discarding their armor and weapons. To kill one is a sin, to slaughter 1,000 is a hero, to slaughter 9,009 is a hero among heroes. For a black-armored general like him who has lulled countless people on the battlefield in his lifetime, the restless souls who have died under his blade are far more than 9,009. He is a true god of killing. After fully digesting his memories, Lu Yun slowly opened his eyes. A pair of emotionless eyes, like the moon hanging high in the night sky, cold and distant. Looking at the room that was about to freeze into an ice cave, Lu Yun's thought moved, and the deep red killing intent throughout the room converged, followed by the powerful pure yang aura emission. Not only is the killing intent stronger after reaching perfection in the 7-kill saber technique, but the cold attribute is also further enhanced, and the ice that condensed in the room, even under the sunlight, does not melt so easily. However, the pure yang aura is extremely strong, especially the pure yang aura enhanced by energy value, which is perfect and flawless. Soon, the ice in the room melted and turned into wisps of mist. Looking at his masterpiece, Lu Yun was somewhat satisfied, and the frost-filled eyes gradually showed emotion. At this moment, looking at the panel again, the cultivation progress of the 7-kill saber technique has reached perfection, 1%. Perfection in the pure yang aura, perfection in the 7-kill saber technique. Lu Yun sat on the bed, closing his eyes to feel the changes in himself. The perfection of the pure yang aura allowed him to open 12 meridians, and the pure yang aura in his body was almost reaching the limit of a martial artist in the meridian passage realm. As for the higher level of pure yang aura, how many more meridians can it open is an unknown. In the martial academy, he hadn't heard of anyone who practiced pure yang aura, let alone reach the level above perfection. However, what is certain is that he is far from reaching the limit of the meridian passage realm. Unlike pure yang aura, there is another level above perfection for the martial arts 7-kill saber technique. That level is killing intent. What is killing intent? What is its purpose? Compared to killing aura, what kind of improvement this is, for Lu Yun, is still a knowledge blind spot. When he raises the 7-kill saber technique to the corresponding level, there will be memory irrigation. He is looking forward to it. However, after consecutively raising pure yang aura and 7-kill saber technique, 60 and 90 contribution points were consumed respectively. Now, he only has 33 energy values left, and he can no longer upgrade either of them. He brought out the Black Tiger Saber Technique. The Black Tiger Saber Technique is a superior martial art obtained after eliminating the Black Tiger Village with Xiao Chen on their last mission. He hadn't looked at it before, and now he finally has the time. Although the Black Tiger Saber Technique is also a superior martial art, it cannot be compared to the 7-kill saber technique. Moreover, the Black Tiger Saber Technique focuses more on skills and moves, not like the 7-kill saber technique, which is aggressive and all or nothing. The Black Tiger Saber Technique has only one move, but it has 18 variations, emphasizing flexible move control according to the opponent's power, speed, and strength during a fight. After going through it completely, the panel showed an additional Black Tiger Saber Technique. Half a month later, in the courtyard, Lu Yun brandished a tiger head broad saber, elegant in posture, and sharp and flexible in the saber technique. In the whistling wind, sometimes it was like a fierce tiger preying, fierce and domineering, sometimes it was like a galloping tiger, swift and unmatched. It is indeed a superior martial art. Although it is incomparable to the 7-kill saber technique, it undoubtedly enriched my combat tactics. Lu Yun's face showed emotion. Although he has the pure yang aura inside, and the 7-kill saber technique outside, when he faces an enemy, He relies on the powerful aggressiveness to overwhelm the opponent. He also likes this fighting style, which is simple, straightforward, and violent. However, this crushing style of combat also greatly consumes him. If the opponent's strength is not much different from his, this extensive combat style will become his weak point. After half a month points addition and hard practice, he finally raised the Black Tiger Saber technique to a great accomplishment level, making up for one more shortcoming. Chapter 59, Returning to Myriad Phenomena Tower. Name: Lu Yun. Influence: Flying Spirit Martial Academy Martial Arts. Breaking Wind Saber Technique Perfection cannot be upgraded. Mix Origin Technique Perceive Truth cannot be upgraded. Pure Yang Aura Perfection 5%. 7 Kill Saber Technique Perfection 2%. Black Tiger Saber Technique Great Accomplishment 13%. Innate Talent Level 5 B0XO. Calm Martial Arts. Meridian Passage Realm Peak 12 Channels. Energy Value 0. Compared to his previous panel, Lu Yun's panel had become more luxurious. He had 5 martial arts techniques by his side, and one of them broke through the limits twice, creating a solid foundation. The other 2 were top-level martial arts techniques that had already reached their perfection, making Lu Yun almost invincible in the Meridian Passage realm. It was as simple as eating and drinking when killing opponents of higher realms. The last one, the Black Tiger Saber technique, hadn't yet reached perfection, but it added another tool to his unbeatable repertoire. However, when he saw the energy value of 0 on the panel, Lu Yun couldn't help but frown. As his martial arts level and tier rose, so did his demand for energy value. Nearly 200 points of energy value had only elevated the pure Yang Aura and 7 Kill Saber technique from great accomplishment to perfection. The Black Tiger Saber technique had reached great accomplishment not just by consuming less energy, but also by Lu Yun's intensive training. Diligent study and hard work were Lu Yun's innate qualities, and he maintained this state for another half a month. Pure Yang Aura, Perfection 7%. 7 Kill Saber Technique, Perfection 4%. Black Tiger Saber Technique, Great Accomplishment 19%. Half a month of cultivation saved Lu Yun at least 20 energy points. Even so, the improvement for him was not significant. At least, there was no visible improvement. After nearly 2 months of silence, it's time to fleece the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Lu Yun got up from bed and walked towards the room's exit. As soon as he opened the courtyard door, he saw Xiao Chen, who had just prepared to knock on the door. He was holding a sword in his right hand, and his left hand was poised as if about to knock. He stood there silently, scrutinizing Lu Yun. "What are you looking at? Is there something on my face?" Lu Yun tried to sound playful, but his voice was rather cold, and his eyes were icy, giving people a sense of being distant. "What happened to you these days? You seem to have changed a bit." Xiao Chen furrowed his brow. Were it not for Lu Yun's unchanged appearance, he would have thought he had found the wrong person. The moment Xiao Chen's words fell, Lu Yun realized his problem. After a moment's hesitation, Lu Yun guessed the root of the problem. The most significant reason he had changed so much was the breakthrough of the 7 Kill Saber technique. Although he had absorbed the memory and perfectly controlled the killing intent, the previous influence on him could not be eliminated instantly. At the thought of this, Lu Yun casually explained, "It's probably the influence of the martial arts breakthrough. It will be fine after a while." Xiao Chen nodded lightly. The improvement of cultivation base and martial arts breakthrough would invisibly change the body. Lu Yun's change was rather significant, but it was still within the acceptable range, so Xiao Chen didn't suspect anything. At this point, his eyes fell on Lu Yun's tiger-head broadsaber. "Preparing to go out?" "Yeah, I'm a little short on funds. I'm going to try the Myriad Phenomena Tower." Trying to soften his rigid face, Lu Yun forced a smile and asked, "What about you? Want to give it a try together?" Instead of responding right away, Xiao Chen replied with surprise, Didn't you notice that there are an extra 1,000 contribution points on your token? Really? Lu Yun hastily took out his token to check. Since returning from Duan Qing's residence, Lu Yun had devoted himself to upgrading and cultivating, and had not looked at his token. 1,010 contribution points. Lu Yun couldn't help but exclaim, and his stiff and aloof face was greatly eased, looking much more normal. Indeed, having money could make the ghosts work, and having contribution points could make Lu Yun change his face. Seeing Lu Yun's actions, Xiao Chen said with interest, "So, do you still want to go to the Myriad Phenomena Tower?" Without any hesitation, Lu Yun replied, "Of course." Upon careful consideration, it had been more than 2 months since he last attempted the Myriad Phenomena Tower, and he was somewhat nostalgic. For most disciples, the Myriad Phenomena Tower was a long-term assessment provided by the Martial Academy. However, for a few individuals it was a place to earn contribution points. For Lu Yun, it was not only a place to exploit resources but also the best place to test his strength. Last time, the silver and other items we captured from the mission have all been processed. The total is 67,000 taels of silver, which is equivalent to 670 contribution points. We split it 50-50, 335 contribution points each. Xiao Chen took out his own token and transferred 335 contribution points to Lu Yun's token. Myriad Phenomena Square. Many people gathered here, either waiting for their chance to enter the Myriad Phenomena Tower or inquiring about other people's scores for entertainment. At this moment, a young man in a blue robe walked out of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. This man was Ma Yunfei, a new disciple who entered the Martial Academy at the same time as Lu Yun. He was also one of the few geniuses with level 5 innate talent. After spending several months cultivating in the Martial Academy, his cultivation base had greatly improved, and his temperament had also improved a lot. As soon as he came out of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, he was instantly surrounded by many youngsters of the same age. "Senior brother Ma, how did it go? Did you pass the 7th floor?" "Nonsense. Senior brother Ma is incredibly talented. He must have passed the 7th floor." "That's right, it's just the 7th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. For senior brother Ma, it's just a warm-up." Surrounded by people, Ma Yunfei stood out with his shining eyes, staring at the towering Myriad Phenomena Tower, the corners of his mouth slightly curving upward. Having just entered the Martial Academy for over 3 months, he had successively passed the first 6 floors of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, ranking among the top new disciples. Today, he broke through the bottleneck again, passing the 7th floor and lasting a while on the 8th floor. With such achievements, only Bai Haoxuan, a level 6 innate talent, could surpass him among all new disciples. Such talent and accomplishments were worth his pride and arrogance. Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall? Ma Yunfei's gaze fell on a jade wall in front of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Everyone listed on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall was a real prodigy and powerhouse of the Martial Academy, with their cultivation bases at least in the late stage of the transforming origin realm. Only by getting their names on the Jade Wall would they genuinely become prominent figures in the Martial Academy and even the entire Spirit Martial Prefecture. From this moment on, his goal was to have his name on the wall. Just then, those who had been flattering him suddenly fell silent. "Look at those two!" someone suddenly exclaimed. Ma Yunfei's thoughts were interrupted by the sudden exclamation, and he looked back with slightly furrowed brows. Chapter 60. Momentum like a broken bamboo. 2 young men came in arm. The younger one had fair skin, delicate facial features with a hint of handsomeness, and an air of gentleness mixed with strength in his starry eyes. He had a complex temperament, with both a comforting masculinity and a fearful coldness about him. The older youth had a simpler temperament, with his sword-like eyebrows and disdainful eyes that ignored the surrounding gazes. One of the youngsters in Ma Yunfei's entourage exclaimed, "It's Lu Yun and Xiao Chen." Ma Yunfei pondered for a moment, Lu Yun, Shao Qin, B0XO. Calm, the two of them haven't been to the Myriad Phenomena Tower for more than 2 months. This time they've come together, it seems like they've made significant progress and are preparing to challenge the 6th floor. Senior Brother Ma, do you want to stay and watch the excitement? An odd look appeared on Ma Yunfei's calm face as he said indifferently, "It won't take too long anyway. I'm curious to see what level these two guys, who used to be on par with me, have reached." When they first entered the martial academy, he, Shao Qin, and Lu Yun had each stopped at the Myriad Phenomena Tower's 6th floor, and their performances had often been compared by others. Soon after, however, he passed the 6th floor and became the second newcomer to reach the 7th floor after Bai Haoxuan. Lu Yun and Shao Qin hadn't visited the Myriad Phenomena Tower since, and discussions about who was the strongest among the three, aside from Bai Haoxuan, had ceased. It wasn't possible to enter the Myriad Phenomena Tower at any time, as only 10 people could enter at a time. That day seemed quite lively, with many people on the Myriad Phenomena Square and many waiting for their chance to enter the Myriad Phenomena Tower, including Lu Yun and Shao Qin. Neither of them particularly liked or disliked this bustling scene. They had a nonchalant attitude. However, they had no idea that someone was secretly watching them. Soon, the Myriad Phenomena Tower's previous batch of disciples came out. These included new disciples who had just entered the martial academy and many older ones, all achieving achievements mostly on the 6th and 7th floors, with the best reaching the 9th floor. The disciple who entered the 9th floor had been in the martial academy for 6 or 7 years. Though his achievements were better than those of other disciples, they were nothing impressive compared to his age and cultivation time, and few people paid attention. Soon enough, it was finally Shao Qin and Lu Yun's turn. Before entering the Myriad Phenomena Tower, Shao Qin said, "I hope you achieve good results." "You too, good luck." With a faint smile, Lu Yun entered the Myriad Phenomena Tower. In the crowd, Chen Tianqi's face was full of mixed emotions. With a level 4 innate talent, his talent was not inferior. Just 3 months after entering the martial academy, he had already advanced from the peak of the Enter-Martial realm to the late stage of the Meridian Passage realm. Such progress was definitely at the top among the newcomers. However, his achievements in the Myriad Phenomena Tower were still inferior to someone's results 2 months ago. What was I thinking back then, to actually join forces with a waste like Mu Qinyun to offend Lu Yun? Chen Tianqi shook his head slightly and turned to leave. As for how far Lu Yun could ultimately go in the Myriad Phenomena Tower, it was no longer relevant to him. 2 months ago, he had already sobered up, focused his mind, and concentrated all his energy on cultivation. What happened to the overconfident Mu Qinyun didn't matter, nor did the extraordinarily gifted Lu Yun. They were no longer his concern. Amidst the lively and boisterous Myriad Phenomena Square, Chen Tianqi's quiet departure did not catch anyone's attention. Myriad Phenomena Tower. Since his previous best result was stopping at the 6th floor, Lu Yun appeared on the 6th floor as soon as he entered the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Last time, even with all his strength and sacrificing what little health he had left, he had only managed to slay 8 demon beasts in the end. Now, his strength had increased more than tenfold. Seeing those 10 ferocious demon beasts before him again, Lu Yun couldn't help but lament. Cultivation was like sailing against the current. If you didn't advance, you'd fall behind. 2 months ago, the 10 demon beasts were at the 2nd rank late stage. Now they were still at the 2nd rank late stage, and Lu Yun had already leaped from the early stage of the Meridian Passage realm to its peak. His true strength was unrivaled in the Meridian Passage realm. Roar! At the sight of Lu Yun, the 10 2nd-rank late-stage demon beasts let out deafening roars and charged at him all at once. In an instant, the power of the Myriad Phenomena Tower's 6th floor surged like a turbulent sea. All bark and no bite. With a cold snort, Lu Yun unsheathed his sword and slashed horizontally. The blade danced through the air, creating waves of sword chi with the force of a raging sea. His sword had already slain real demon beasts, including those at the third rank. He had no fear of these energy-converted demon beasts within the myriad phenomena tower. A goose leaves no trace, and the wind leaves no sound. His sword left nothing but ruthlessness. With the tiger-head broadsaber in hand, 2 or 3 slashes were enough to deal with a second-rank late-stage demon beast. The feat was effortless and simple. Before long, Lu Yun had effortlessly dealt with the 10 second-rank late-stage demon beasts that had once caused him such hardship. As he looked at the vortex portal appearing before him, Lu Yun casually tucked his left hand into his pocket and shouldered his sword in his right hand, swaggering into it. The 7th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower was a new threshold, blocking countless disciples' paths. The moment Lu Yun appeared, 2 huge demon beasts appeared almost simultaneously. These were 2 wild boar-like demon beasts covered in black hair that resembled sharp steel needles. They each had a single horn on their heads, like a sharp blade, glinting under the dim light. If the 10 demon beasts on the Myriad Phenomena Tower's 6th floor were a difficult peak to climb for most disciples, then the muscular, fierce-looking monohorn wild boars on the 7th floor were an insurmountable chasm. Undoubtedly, these 2 monohorn wild boars were both second-rank peak demon beasts, and such a challenge was enough to make most Meridian Passage realm disciples despair. Heh heh! The monohorn wild boars let out hissing roars, their huge eyes filled with madness and rage. Upon seeing Lu Yun, they became even more ferocious, their black needle-like hairs standing on end. Oh, they're quite aggressive! Excitement appeared in Lu Yun's eyes. Boom! The 2 monohorn wild boars charged at once, their huge, fierce bodies not slowing them down in the slightest. On the contrary, their momentum became even more terrifying and formidable as they charged. Lu Yun dodged with a leap, and a loud bang sounded as the 2 monohorn wild boars smashed huge holes in the ground where he had just stood, dust billowing into the air. As Lu Yun dodged, he immediately attacked the nearest monohorn wild boar. Wretched beast, die! Lu Yun roared lowly. His entire being transformed into a bolt of lightning, the tiger-head broad-saber in his hand emitting a cold light as it chopped straight down at the monohorn wild boar's neck. At that moment, another dark shadow attacked Lu Yun. As Lu Yun's sword slashed down, he somersaulted in midair, and his pure yang aggressive aura erupted, concentrating on his tiger-head broad-saber. With a backhanded slash, a 3-feet-long sword chi flew out, sending the muscular monohorn wild boar flying. Chapter 61. Roar of 100 beasts with a single swing, Lu Yun sent the charging monohorn wild boar flying and thought to himself, this monohorn wild boar truly deserves its reputation as a second-rank peak demon beast. Not only is its body robust, but its speed is also extraordinary. Unfortunately for them, I am their opponent. As a Meridian Passage realm peak practitioner, Lu Yun's strength reached a terrifying level, and his reaction speed far surpassed that of the same-ranked martial artists. He could easily handle the attack of the monohorn wild boar. Heh! Unaware of the gap in strength between it and Lu Yun, the monohorn wild boar that had been struck let out a roar and charged at Lu Yun again. You have courage, but you're not worth praising. B0XO. Calm Lu Yun's body agilely flipped, skillfully avoiding the monohorn wild boar's death charge. The tiger-head broad-saber in his hand spun down with the help of the force of his rotation. Whoosh! Swift like lightning, and as forceful as a mountain, the saber struck the gray horn on top of the monohorn wild boar's head. With a snap, Lu Yun could clearly hear something heartbreaking. Roar! The monohorn wild boar roared crazily, its scarlet eyes flickering with an intimidating cold light. It turned out that the gray sharp horn on its head had been chopped off by Lu Yun, causing it unbearable pain. Whether it's defense, strength, or speed, you're far from a third-rank demon beast. Lu Yun commented calmly and immediately moved, creating a phantom image, avoiding the monohorn wild boar's charge with a heavy, fierce, and extremely fast strike. Splash! Without much resistance, his saber pierced through the monohorn wild boar's neck, slicing through its hair, flesh, and bones. Blood gushed out like a fountain from the smooth-edged wound. The massive body of the monohorn wild boar fell heavily to the ground, its legs unconsciously kicking. As blood continued to flow, its breath gradually weakened. Once it completely lost its breath, the corpse on the ground and the blood turned into wisps of starlight and drifted away like smoke. Even though it wasn't Lu Yun's first time witnessing this, he still felt it was both real and dreamlike. Stepping into the vortex portal, Lu Yun appeared in a completely new environment. Myriad Phenomena Tower's 8th floor. The demon beasts were still second-rank peak monohorn wild boars, but their numbers had increased from 2 to 10. This shouldn't be a problem, Lu Yun uttered indifferently before disappearing in a flash. Instead of directly confronting the 10 second-rank peak monohorn wild boars, he appeared at their side, using his astonishing speed and agility to smoothly slide his long saber into the throat of one of the boars. With a gush of blood, Lu Yun's figure quickly retreated, avoiding a horn attack from the side. He then pierced the eye of another monohorn wild boar that had rushed to his back, destroying both its retina and brain center with a burst of sword chi. After killing 2 monohorn wild boars in a row like this, Lu Yun felt somewhat incredulous. Back on the 7th floor, he killed the 2 monohorn wild boars effortlessly and quickly without using much of his pure yang aggressive aura. Relying on his super-fast speed and immense strength, he obliterated them and entered the 8th floor. But now, the time and aura consumed to kill 2 monohorn wild boars of the same rank had decreased even further. These monohorn wild boars seem to have weak points. Attacking their eyes or throats have twice the effect. As Lu Yun was contemplating, the attacks of other monohorn wild boars arrived. With a sidestep, he brushed past the nearest one, allowing the tiger-head broad saber to smoothly penetrate through its weak abdomen. Feeling the life of the monohorn wild boar gradually fading, Lu Yun's eyes brightened. Although the abdomen wasn't as vulnerable as the throat or the eyes, it was still one of the monohorn wild boar's weak spots. The best way to kill a demon beast is to find its weak spots and deliver a fatal blow. Next, Lu Yun moved among the remaining monohorn wild boars, continuously seeking their weaknesses. Eyes, anus, throat, heart. These were the primary weak spots, along with the slightly less vulnerable areas like the abdomen and neck. However, it was difficult to attack these critical spots since the monohorn wild boars had fast movement speeds, and striking them would require precise timing and agile footwork. With each monohorn wild boar falling, Lu Yun's combat skills gradually improved. When the last monohorn wild boar disintegrated into energy and dissipated, Lu Yun's gaze became increasingly resolute and confident. Whether it's fighting against demon beasts or other martial artists, the key is to make the most of every attack. The 9th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. As soon as he arrived, Lu Yun sensed something unusual. Looking around, he saw numerous dark shadows in his field of vision. Lu Yun spotted at least 50 wild boars, each with a gray horn on their heads, exuding a powerful aura that was undoubtedly characteristic of second-rank peak demon beasts. Lu Yun could easily slay a single second-rank peak monohorn wild boar. With 10 second-rank peak monohorn wild boars, it would take a bit more time and effort, but he could still kill them all. However, there were 50 in front of him now, making his scalp tingle. A mayfly trying to shake a massive tree, a foolhardy endeavor. But if there were enough mayflies, they could shake not just a large tree, but even mountains and planets. The current monohorn wild boars were few in number, but they were not mayflies. They were second-rank peak demon beasts, with overwhelmingly stronger combined strength than most martial artists in the Meridian Passage realm. No wonder this 9th challenge has made things difficult for those at the True Chi realm. It really is troublesome. As Lu Yun's eyes twinkled, He recalled the techniques and methods he had used during his earlier battles, and his heart had already made a decision. Even without using combat techniques, relying on his powerful strength to brute force his way through, Lu Yun had some confidence in slaughtering these 50 demon beasts. But that wasn't what he wanted. Drawing his tiger-head broadsaber, he charged forward. When facing such crowded second-rank peak demon beasts, most true Qi realm martial artists would unconsciously feel intimidated, but not Lu Yun. Instead, he fearlessly attacked with great momentum. Attack! Due to the inertia from his charge, Lu Yun's tiger-head broad-saber plunged downward from above with tremendous speed, accompanied by a piercing whistling sound. The monohorn wild boar in front sensed something wrong and tried to dodge. However, Lu Yun's saber was too fast and powerful, and coupled with the suppression from his momentum, it cut straight down from the head of the demon beast. It was as if a ferocious tiger had pounced, instantly tearing the monohorn wild boar to pieces and causing a cloud of dust to rise as it charged into the other boars. Lu Yun's powerful attack didn't scare the other monohorn wild boars. Instead, it completely infuriated them, provoking their crazed, angry roars. Dozens of second-rank peak monohorn wild boars roared in unison, their deafening cries causing the entire space of the 9th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower to tremble slightly. Chapter 62. Stopping at the 9th level, a herd of monohorn wild boars is charging towards Lu Yun, their eyes sparkling with bloodlust and madness, seeming never to rest until they've shredded the human in front of them to pieces. Yet, facing the furious and insane monohorn wild boars, Lu Yun only reveals a faint smile on his face. Whoosh! B0XO. Calm. His speed escalates abruptly. The vast pure yang aura is amplified, its formidable momentum shocking the nearby monohorn wild boars and making their fur stand on end immediately. Lu Yun charges in an instant, stepping out with an eerie movement underfoot. It's from the Black Tiger saber technique. As he gets close, he puts a twist to his body. His tiger-head broad saber grazes across the flesh of the monohorn wild boar and pierces through its throat. Splat! Blood spurts out, and another highly robust monohorn wild boar has been taken down. Lu Yun quickly turns around to evade the charge of another monohorn wild boar, then locates his next target. It's a monohorn wild boar that leaps fiercely and swoops down with a strong gust. Lu Yun immediately leans backward, barely scraping past the boar. In the blink of an eye, the tiger-head broadsaber hews across the boar's belly as they brush against one another, leaving a long gash. Its massive frame collapses to the ground and no longer shows signs of life. Roar, roar! 2 more monohorn wild boars charge from both sides, their massive mouths and sharp horns about to make contact with Lu Yun. Lu Yun flips over, his feet delivering a powerful kick to the head of one monohorn wild boar, sending it flying. Simultaneously, the tiger-head broad-saber in his hand lets out a whoosh as it thrusts towards the skull of the other charging monohorn wild boar. Splat! The broad saber instantly penetrates the eye of the monohorn wild boar and goes through its entire skull. There are just too many monohorn wild boars, fast and fiercely strong. Even a formidable person like Lu Yun has to be careful. If he becomes careless and gets ambushed by any one of them, his body can't handle it. He might even fail at the 9th floor. Relying on his flexibility, Lu Yun weaves through the group of rabid monohorn wild boars. His mastery of the Black Tiger saber technique enhances his maneuverability, allowing him to continuously find their weak spots and kill them with one swift slash. Exerting a lot of effort, he manages to kill several more monohorn wild boars. Despite this, there are still about 30 monohorn wild boars surrounding him. After a fierce battle, these monohorn wild boars have become even more bloodthirsty and crazy. They don't seem like demon beasts evolved from energy at all. Although my speed is good and the Black Tiger saber technique includes some maneuvers, facing so many demon beasts attacking at once is still somewhat exhausting. Seems like one need to find a maneuver-based martial arts technique in the book collection pavilion. Previously, Lu Yun faced fewer enemies who were also much weaker than him, so he didn't pay much attention to his body movement. He believed that his explosive speed was enough to cope with all battles. Only now does he realize the importance of body movement. Constantly fighting is the only way to find one's weaknesses and shortcomings. Looking at the horde of monohorn wild boars approaching like an army, Lu Yun's eyes grow cold. Given the current situation, only the most primitive style of fight is appropriate. Suddenly, Lu Yun ceases dodging. A powerful aggressive aura surges within him, the blade in his hands gleaming in the cold, saber energy overflowing. In a split second, he swings the saber, unleashing relentless attacks. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. The sight is filled with blades that stretch over a yard, flashing in an instant, with Lu Yun slicing through dozens of swords. Dozens of powerful sword lights soar toward the massive group of monohorn wild boars that are rushing forward. These clusters of curved sword lights slice through the scene, shattering the ground inch by inch, creating an intimidating spectacle. Splat, splat, splat. These dozens of sword lights not only move fast but also possess terrifying power. As they slice through, they immediately cut up the peak second-rank monohorn wild boars instantaneously. After the sword lights passed, in the 9th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, only 3 monohorn wild boars remained. These 3 monohorn wild boars that luckily survived are trembling in fright from the earlier scene, appearing extremely lifelike. I used up almost half of my pure yang aura in one go. This style of fighting, indeed, can't be used often. After a round of fierce operations, Lu Yun felt his dantian had instantly emptied significantly. Only Lu Yun would dare to play out the performance of slicing dozens of terrifying yard-length blades of light in an instant. If others dared to do so, their dantian would probably fail instantly. No, it would be hard for them to do so, because very few people have his vast aggressive aura at the Meridian Passage realm. I've already passed the 6th, 7th, and 8th floors of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. If one again managed to pass the 9th floor, that would mean 4 continuous floors. Such progress would indeed be monstrous to others. Lu Yun's eyes are flickering with determination. Based on his capabilities, the 9th floor shouldn't be his limit. Even the unknown 10th floor might not be able to stop him. A swooping bird gets shot, a snake poking its head out gets chopped. Stunning is allowed, but not excessively. If one stands out too much, it's easy to attract excessive attention, even calamities. Entering the 9th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower merely 3 months after admission is already high profile and stunning enough. Before he has fully grown, it's necessary to remain low-key to some extent, otherwise, there will be no opportunity for growth. The current Martial Academy and the Spirit Martial Prefecture are not safe cradles. There are still many forces secretly opposing the government. When the water is full, it overflows. When the moon is full, it wanes. I must be prepared for any eventuality and lay low, Lu Yun thought. He is not a naive youth. His talent is strong, he has external benefits that outsiders couldn't imagine, and his capabilities are also formidable. But this strength is only relative to his peers and the martial artists of the same rank. Faced with this thought, Lu Yun has made up his mind. He sheathed his tiger-head broad saber, hands clasped behind his back, slowly advancing towards the remaining 3 monohorn wild boars. Yes, he intended to surrender and stoically accept death. But what happened next made him find it rather amusing. The 3 surviving monohorn wild boars, scared to trembling, backed away. Is this really a demon beast that evolved from the Myriad Phenomena Tower? Lu Yun looked somewhat speechless. When he was on a killing spree, these monohorn wild boars were much fiercer. Now that he is surrendering and ready for slaughter, they seem to be cowards. What a bunch of wimps! He thought smugly and turned his gaze toward the vortex portal in another corner. He guessed that should be the exit of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Every floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower has an exit, but the entrance only appears after all the demon beasts within the corresponding floor have been killed. Stepping into the vortex portal, Lu Yun's silhouette slowly fades away inside the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Meanwhile, there's a stir at the Myriad Phenomena Square. Everyone is astounded as they look at the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall because Lu Yun just consecutively passed through the 6th, 7th, and 8th floors of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, advancing into the 9th. Chapter 63. Huge contribution points. The dynamic information column at the top of the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall changed constantly. The information displayed here represented major events that caused a sensation in the Myriad Phenomena Tower and attracted the attention of the tower spirit. These included someone passing more than 3 levels in a row within the first 10 levels of the tower, 4 levels between 10 to 20, someone passing 2 levels in a row, and for people entering the 20th level and above, each level they pass would be reported. B0XO. Calm Lu Yun had passed 3 levels in a row. Moreover, when the information that he passed 3 levels was displayed on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall, it had only been a short time since he entered the tower. Such a fast clearing speed was simply unheard of. With a bewildered expression, Ma Yunfei stared at the slowly moving information on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall, his eyes full of shock and disbelief. Is that possible? How could Lu Yun pass the 8th level? How could his strength be so strong? Ma Yunfei's pride and complacency were greatly shattered. The calm and composed face he once wore was replaced by shock and doubt. The difficulty of passing the Myriad Phenomena Tower increased with each level. Not to mention the 10 level 2 late-stage demon beasts of the 6th level, even peak Meridian Passage realm disciples in the Martial Academy might not be able to defeat them. On the 7th level, there were 2 peak level 2 demon beasts. Even Ma Yunfei, a genius with a top-notch level 5 innate talent, had used some means to resolve them. The 8th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower was even more absurd, as there were 10 peak level 2 demon beasts. Only those who faced the terror of these 10 peak level 2 demon beasts would understand. These beasts were not unintelligent creatures, waiting to be slowly slain, but creatures that understood tactics such as surprise attacks and combined attack. Ma Yunfei, who was considered the second best among the new disciples, couldn't even defeat 2 of them, ultimately admitting defeat with regret. For this reason, he deeply understood how difficult it was to pass the 8th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. After leaving the tower, Lu Yun emerged with a pale and flawless face. Under the sunlight, his angular and stern face appeared both dazzling like the sun and as cold as the moonlight. The people on Myriad Phenomena Square all looked at Lu Yun with fervent and curious eyes. When they saw that cold face and the indifferent, deep, and mysterious ice eyes, they couldn't help but lower their heads. Even Ma Yunfei turned his head away, not daring to look at Lu Yun. Just then, his gaze fell on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall again. When he saw the new information on it, his pupils contracted. What? Someone else passed the 3 levels too. It's Xiaoqun. He passed the 8th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower too. One by one, the other disciples turned their attention to the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. Indeed, it showed the news of Xiaoqun passing the 6th, 7th, and 8th levels of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. This batch of new disciples is so strong. Not to mention Ma Yunfei, who just passed the 7th level, 2 more people have successively passed the 8th level today. It's so fierce. With Bai Haoxuan previously, there are already 3 new disciples who have passed the 8th level. Given their clearing speed, it won't be long before the Star Palace will have 3 more newcomers. Some older disciples discussed with excitement and shock. At the same time, they felt deep pressure. Even after entering the Martial Academy for several years, they were still hovering around the 7th and 8th levels, yearning for the Star Palace but unable to reach it. The 9th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower was like an insurmountable mountain for them, and the 10th level was an insurmountable chasm. Senior brother, shall we continue to stay here? One of the disciples beside Ma Yunfei asked softly, seeing his dejected face. Ma Yunfei turned his head again, no longer looking at the myriad phenomena jade wall, and spoke with a hoarse voice. Let's go. His original purpose for staying had been achieved, but the result was not what he expected, even far exceeding his expectations. Thinking about his previous pride and complacency, Ma Yunfei felt deeply ashamed. He quickly picked up his pace, wanting to leave the myriad phenomena square as if he could fly. Actually, if he could improve his strength a bit more, he could have passed the 8th level. But even if he could have barely passed it, there would still be a gap between him and Xiao Chun and Lu Yun. Whether it was Xiao Chun or Lu Yun, they started from the 6th level and successively passed the 6th, 7th, and 8th levels. And within the myriad phenomena tower, there was hardly any time to catch your breath. After passing one level, the challenge of the next level would begin soon after. So, Lu Yun and Xiao Chun, in one breath, had successively solved the difficulties of the 6th, 7th, and 8th levels. This was no longer as simple as passing the 8th level. That's why Ma Yunfei was so shocked and distraught. The gap was too huge. Of course, if he knew that Lu Yun scared away the demon beasts on the 9th level and voluntarily left the myriad phenomena tower, then his shock would not be so simple. After leaving the tower, Lu Yun saw the information about Xiao Chun passing the 8th level of the myriad phenomena tower on the jade wall. He didn't feel surprised at all. In Green Cloud County, Xiao Chun was able to kill the true Qi realm martial artists of the White Lotus sect. After returning, he made great progress in seclusion. The 8th level of the myriad phenomena tower naturally couldn't stop him. The only thing Lu Yun was curious about was whether Xiao Chun could pass the 9th level. On the 9th level, there were 50 peak level 2 demon beasts. Xiao Chun couldn't determine the outcome in a short time, so Lu Yun didn't leave either. Instead, he checked his own gains. Passing the 6th level of the myriad phenomena tower grants 500 contribution points. Passing the 7th level grants 1,000 contribution points. Passing the 8th level grants 1,500 contribution points. 3 successive messages appeared on his identity token, and his endeavor in the myriad phenomena tower had earned him a total of 3,000 contribution points. I gained so many contribution points all at once. Lu Yun's eyes sparkled. Including the contribution points he had earned from previous missions, he now had a total of 4,445 contribution points. Lu Yun stared at the towering myriad phenomena tower with gleaming eyes, thinking to himself, "This place is not only the best for trials, but also a great place to gain resources. I'm loving it more and more." It didn't take long for Xiao Chun to emerge from the myriad phenomena tower. His handsome face showed no sorrow or joy, but beneath his sword-like eyebrows, his sharp eyes radiated a strong fighting spirit. This showed that he had just experienced an extremely intense battle. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Xiao Chun walked towards where Lu Yun was. "Stopped at the 9th level, how about you?" Lu Yun smiled lightly. "Same as you, I was defeated by the 9th level." "Is that so?" Xiao Chun looked deeply at Lu Yun, then nodded slowly. Just then, a bearded middle-aged man dressed in black approached, drawing the attention of the disciples. The black-clothed middle-aged man had a rough and indifferent face. Without paying attention to the disciples, he walked straight through the crowd, arriving in front of Lu Yun and Xiao Chun. Chapter 64. Dean's summoning. The indifference on the face of the man in black receded slightly, revealing a faint smile as he looked at Lu Yun and Xiao Chun with interest. Upon seeing this black-clad middle-aged man who suddenly appeared before them, Xiao Chun and Lu Yun both felt a strong oppressive aura at the same time. "So strong, there's no way to win," Lu Yun thought to himself. Right now, his strength was enough to easily deal with level 5 martial artists in the true Qi realm's mid-stage. Even if they were in the late stage, they might not necessarily be able to defeat him. B0XO. Calm, however, in front of this middle-aged man, he couldn't muster any will to resist at all. This showed just how terrifying this middle-aged man was. He must be a transforming origin realm expert at the very least. Xiao Chen also felt the pressure coming at him, making him feel weak and even have difficulty breathing. The afternoon sun shone on Myriad Phenomena Square, and the black-clad middle-aged man, Xiao Chen, and Lu Yun attracted everyone's attention. Now, the three of them stood silently on the spot, not moving at all. However, it was clear that the black-clad middle-aged man was relaxed, with his hands behind his back and a faint smile on his face. Xiao Chen and Lu Yun, on the other hand, gradually had beads of sweat forming on their foreheads. This sweat was definitely not due to the hot temperature or the strong sun. Which one of you two young fellows is Xiao Chen, and which one is Lu Yun? About a dozen breaths later, the black-clad middle-aged man retracted his powerful aura. With a satisfied gaze in his muddy eyes, he looked at Lu Yun and Xiao Chen and asked with a smile. Lu Yun. Xiao Chen. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen replied one after another, with a respectful tone. With the middle-aged man in black having withdrawn his oppressive aura, they both felt a wave of relief all over their bodies. At the same time, their gazes towards the man in black were also filled with some reverence. It was essential to maintain necessary respect for a martial artist far stronger than oneself. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, both the cream of the crop among the new disciples, knew this very well. Moreover, they had just personally experienced the other party's strength. Seeing the two obedient young men in front of him, who were impressive without losing their composure, the satisfaction in the eyes of the black-clad middle-aged man grew even stronger. Not bad, not bad. As expected from disciples who have only entered the martial academy for 3 months and have passed the 8th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Even under my oppressive aura, you still stand proudly. After praising them, the black-clothed middle-aged man continued, I am Chen Tianyun. You may call me Elder Chen. I was summoned by the dean to bring you two to meet him. Without waiting for Lu Yun and Xiao Chen to reply, Chen Tianyun said, Come with me. The dean's busy, so let's not keep him waiting. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen glanced at each other, both seeing the confusion and curiosity in each other's eyes, but they quickly followed along. The Flying Spirit Martial Academy was vast, and it took 2 hours to travel from Myriad Phenomena Square to the dean's cultivating place. They took a scenic and winding path, and soon found themselves in front of a serene and elegant courtyard. There were only 3 or 4 houses in the courtyard. In the center of the courtyard stood a stout tree that reached the sky. Its wide-open branches were like a huge umbrella sheltering the entire yard under its shade. The courtyard door was open, and under the big tree lay an old man with closed eyes on a rocking chair. The chair was steadily rocking back and forth, making creaking sounds. A gentle breeze blew, and a slightly yellowish leaf slowly floated down. Just as it was about to land on the old man's face, it suddenly stopped. At the same time, the constantly rocking chair that had been making creaking noises stopped moving as well. The old man slowly opened his eyes and looked at the floating yellowish leaf above his head. He softly said, The fallen leaf only knows it's autumn. Is it autumn that gives life to the leaves or the leaves that fall because of autumn? No one responded to him, and the only reply he got was a gentle breeze, which slowly carried away the floating leaf. Dean, I've brought them here. Upon arriving outside the courtyard, Chen Tianyun didn't enter immediately but respectfully cupped his hands and spoke. Come in. The old man's calm and aged voice came from inside, and only then did Chen Tianyun bring Lu Yun and Xiao Chen into the courtyard. Curious, Lu Yun looked at the old man lying on the rocking chair and wondered, Is this Yi Xingchen, the dean of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy? Yi Xingchen was lying on the rocking chair, and it was difficult to see his full figure, but one could tell from his wrinkled face that he was an experienced old man. Tianyun, you're still as efficient as ever in your work. Yi Xingchen sighed helplessly, then slowly got up from the rocking chair. His movements seemed very slow. When his gaze landed on Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, his once lifeless eyes shone with gentleness, their muddy but warm appearance giving off a sense of peacefulness and calm. They silently told others that he was just an ordinary old man. Chen Tianyun introduced Xiao Chen and Lu Yun to Yi Xingchen in turn. Dean, these are Xiao Chen and Lu Yun. Xiao Chen pays his respects to the dean. Lu Yun pays his respects to the dean. Xiao Chen and Lu Yun both courteously greeted Yi Xingchen. They tried their best to display their maturity and steadiness, but their true nature was exposed under the old man's muddy yet piercing gaze. Ha ha ha, you two don't have to be so formal. Just treat me like an ordinary old man. Yi Xingchen looked at Lu Yun and Xiao Chen with a smile, finding them more and more satisfying. Before meeting you, I had already seen Bai Haoxuan. He was the first disciple of this cohort to pass the 8th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, with a good foundation and great potential, truly living up to his level 6 innate talent. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen didn't know what Yi Xingchen was trying to express and didn't reply, opting to remain silent instead. Yi Xingchen took note of their reactions, giving another slight smile. Actually, both of your performances have far exceeded the expectations of myself and the Martial Academy. Among the disciples of past generations, the fastest time a level 5 talent like you two took to pass the 8th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower was 5 months. However, both of you reduced that record by 2 whole months. It must be said that your potential far surpasses your own talent. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen continued to remain silent, patiently waiting for the other party to continue. The Martial Academy, as a cradle for cultivating strong martial artists for the court, has always been generous towards disciples with potential and talent. Your performance in the Myriad Phenomena Tower proves that your potential exceeds the limits of level 5 talent. You're not even worse off compared to those level 6 talented disciples. Summoning you two this time is to give you a bottom line, or perhaps set a goal. If you can pass the 10th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower within half a year, not only will you be directly promoted to be disciples of the Star Palace, but also each of you will be rewarded with a superior true artifact. Upon hearing this, Lu Yun's and Xiao Chen's breaths both hitched, their eyes lighting up with blazing desire. As long as they could pass the 10th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower within half a year, they would be rewarded with a true artifact, and a superior one at that. Chapter 65. Second floor of the book collection pavilion. Weapons below true artifacts are not graded, and are all considered ordinary weapons. From kitchen knives to treasured swords that could easily slice iron, all are ordinary weapons. The Tigerhead broadsaber Lu Yun currently uses is a top-quality ordinary weapon, capable of carrying powerful pure yang aura and killing third-rank demon beasts without breaking. However, even if the Tigerhead broadsaber is a top-tier ordinary weapon, it still has its limits. B0XO. Calm. Once Lu Yun enters the true Qi realm and refines his aggressive aura a few times or engages in several battles, the broad saber will eventually break. True artifacts, on the other hand, are different. Not only can they carry true Qi, but they can also carry a higher level of true origin. Now, the elder with the highest status in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy personally promised to reward them with a superior true artifact if they can pass the 10th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower within half a year. This is a huge temptation for Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. Touching the Tigerhead broad saber on his back, a determined look appeared in Lu Yun's eyes. If he wasn't afraid of causing too much commotion, he would even want to go back to the Myriad Phenomena Tower immediately and break through the 10th floor. What do you think? Do you too have confidence? Yi Xingchen showed a kind smile on his experienced face. We, the disciples, will certainly do our best. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen bowed their fists at the same time. Yi Xingchen smiled and nodded, then reached out to stroke his grizzled beard. His eyes, filled with vicissitude, looked at the distant horizon, seemingly gazing at the stars across the sky. knowing the grand from the humble, seeing a falling leaf and knowing the years are ending. I'm getting old, getting old. Then, he remained silent and continued to gaze into the depths of the sky. Dean, we will take our leave first, Chen Tianyun said respectfully, then left with Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. As soon as they stepped out of the door, the wooden rocking chair started to creak as it moved within the courtyard, gradually dissipating in all directions. After leaving the dean's cultivation place through the secluded path, Chen Tianyun said solemnly, although the dean may look old, when it comes to strength, no one in the Spirit Martial Prefecture can beat him. Even when looking at the entire Ling province, there are only a few people who can barely compete with the dean. Chen Tianyun said all this with a proud expression on his face. May first ask what realm the dean is in? Lu Yun suddenly asked. Chen Tianyun just glanced at Lu Yun lightly, shook his head slightly, and didn't answer. Feeling confused, Lu Yun didn't continue to ask any further. Perhaps seeing potential in Lu Yun, Chen Tianyun eventually gave him a hint. The dean is now over 200 years old. Upon hearing this, Lu Yun didn't react at first. Only after a dozen breaths did a shocked expression appear on his face. Martial artists in the true Qi realm and below have a lifespan not much longer than ordinary people, with a maximum limit of 100 years. Only by advancing to the transforming origin realm and converting true Qi into true origin could one cleanse the body and increase their life expectancy. The transforming origin realm would add 10 years to one's life expectancy. After advancing to the origin fluid realm, the Qi transforms into liquid and the true origin becomes more refined and powerful. Cleansing the body would add another 20 years to one's life expectancy. In the golden body realm, by practicing cultivation techniques to break through the mortal body and attain an indestructible gold body, the Bodhis functions undergo a transformation, further adding 50 years to one's life expectancy. And the dean, who's already old and declining, has lived for more than 200 years. Just a few days later, the news of 2 new disciples clearing the 8th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower spread throughout the Flying Spirit Martial Academy like wildfire. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen became famous new disciples, following by Haoxuan, who had already made a name for themselves at the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. There were tens of thousands of disciples in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, which was vast in size. Disciples who were well known throughout the Flying Spirit Martial Academy were either powerful individuals who had left their names on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall or geniuses like Bai Haoxuan, who had an innate talent of level 6. It was rare, if not impossible, to find someone like Lu Yun and Xiao Chen who had made a name for themselves with level 5 innate talent. When their fellow level 5 disciples who entered the academy around the same time heard the news, they were all astounded. Clearing the 7th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower was already insane, and that Lu Yun and Xiao Chen could pass the 6th, 7th, and 8th floors in one fell swoop was just monstrous. Nevertheless, they did not feel jealousy but only envy and boundless motivation. When the gap between their rivals and themselves was small, others would be jealous, but when the gap was large enough, jealousy would turn into envy. Within 3 months of entering the academy, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, who had cleared the 8th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, had completely outpaced their fellow level 5 disciples and became someone they looked up to. So when they heard that Lu Yun and Xiao Chen had cleared the 8th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, they were excited and couldn't help but strive to catch up. We all have level 5 innate talent. If Xiao Chen and Lu Yun can clear the 8th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower in just 3 months, then I, Wang Ting, refuse to believe that I can't clear the 7th floor. From the elite disciple courtyard, number 3013, a purple-robed youth with an extraordinary demeanor walked out, heading straight for the Myriad Phenomena Tower. It's been a while since one last went to the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Today, I'll see what's so great about Ma Yunfei that allows him to call himself the second person among the new disciples. At the same time, in the living area for ordinary disciples, inside a room, cracked, dressed in luxurious clothes, looking like a refined gentleman, Mu Qingyun crushed the jade cup in his hand as a trace of cruelty flashed across his handsome face. Damn, why is it that you, a mere young master from a small manor, can surpass me and even stand out in such a talent-filled place like the Martial Academy? A young man sitting opposite him hurriedly said, Qingyun, you mustn't get upset. Lu Yun's not the same as he was before. Not only is he powerful, but he's also valued by the higher-ups of the academy. If you offend him, even the families and forces behind you won't end up well. Mu Qingyun subtly withdrew the cruelty from his face, replacing it with helplessness. I purely envy Lu Yun. Why is it that he has no family or resources, and yet he's been able to smoothly progress with ever-growing strength? Now, he's even cleared the 8th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, becoming a person of great significance in Flying Spirit Martial Academy and even the entire Spirit Martial Prefecture. And one, Mu Qingyun, even with the full backing and support of my family's resources, still linger at the beginning of the Meridian Passage realm, barely able to pass even the 2nd floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. The young man in front of him shook his head with a complicated expression. This has already gone beyond whether you have the support of your family or resources. There are so many disciples in the academy, including those from great aristocratic families in the Spirit Martial Prefecture. They are barely known in an academy filled with talent. However, Lu Yun can compete with level 6 talent by Haoshuan. This proves something if you think about it. Mu Qingyun shook his head slightly with a bitter smile. I know what you're saying, and I'm fully aware of it. But I saw his humiliation and weakness with my own eyes. Hearing this, the young man sitting opposite him quickly interrupted. You must never do anything beyond your abilities. Don't worry. I'm not that foolish. Instead, I'll find a time to apologize to Lu Yun and beg for his forgiveness. As long as you say so, I'm relieved. You don't have to befriend someone as talented as Lu Yun, but you absolutely must not offend him. At this time, Lu Yun had already come to the book collection pavilion and headed straight to the 2nd floor. The 1st floor of the book collection pavilion was free to enter, while the 2nd floor housed superior martial arts, which required spending 10 contribution points to access. For someone like Lu Yun, who already possessed a considerable amount of contribution points, this was naturally not worth mentioning. Chapter 66. Mu Qingyun's visit. Compared to the 1st floor, there were far fewer people on the 2nd floor of the book collection pavilion. The martial arts on the 2nd floor were all top-notch, with power and value surpassing those of first-class martial arts. Those top-notch combat martial arts and body techniques also consumed much more true qi than first-class martial arts, and even if an ordinary Meridian Passage realm martial artist successfully cultivated them, the consumption would be very high. Therefore, only martial artists above the true qi realm would choose to cultivate top-notch martial art. In the Martial Academy, the number of disciples in the true qi realm and Meridian Passage realm were roughly the same. B0XO. However, the disciples who were able to advance to the true qi realm had been in the Martial Academy for a long time and had already cultivated suitable martial art. Top-notch martial arts were valuable and difficult to cultivate, so most disciples would only cultivate 1 or 2. Lu Yun went directly to the section on body technique. He could still only see the names and introductions of the martial arts. Ripple step. Based on the 64 hexagrams of the 8 diagrams, the cultivator follows a specific sequence of hexagram directions from the first step to the last, completing a full circle. This body technique is subtle and unpredictable. Wind God step. With the cultivation of this body technique, the body becomes light and nimble, and one can move silently and unseen, like the wind god descending upon the world. 100 changes divine movement. When cultivated to perfection, one can travel thousands of miles in a day. In battle, the body becomes as flexible as a loach, able to move effortlessly between powerful opponents without a scratch. Since Lu Yun was not in a hurry, he carefully read each of them. Body techniques were different from other martial arts. Even if cultivated successfully, they would not increase one's strength as much as other combat martial arts. Additionally, their cultivation difficulty was not much different from other martial arts, so most people would not waste time cultivating body technique. Lu Yun had the panel, so as long as he had enough energy points, he could quickly improve. However, this did not mean he would choose a body technique randomly, only the one that suited him best would be the most effective. As expected from the Martial Academy's book collection pavilion, there were dozens of top-notch body techniques to choose from. After reviewing them all, Lu Yun hesitated between the Sky Light Cloud Shadow Step and the Gale Thunder Flash Step. He liked both body techniques and found it difficult to choose between them for a moment. Although the Sky Light Cloud Shadow Step is also quite good, the Gale Thunder Flash Step suits my combat style better. Lu Yun was not an indecisive person. On the contrary, he was very resolute and quickly made a decision. Having settled on a body technique, Lu Yun headed to the area for internal martial arts. The next stage after reaching the peak of the Meridian Passage realm was advancing to the True Qi realm and refining True Qi. Since his pure yang aura was now at perfection and he had entered the peak of the Meridian Passage realm, it was time for him to choose a top-notch martial art to refine his aggressive aura. There were only about 10 martial arts for refining True Qi, but those collected by the Martial Academy's book collection pavilion were the absolute best of the best. Profound Water Refining Technique, Ferocious Fire Refining Technique, Longevity Refining Technique, Heavy Earth Refining Technique, Golden Sun Refining Technique, Cold Ice Refining Technique, and so on. Each refining technique had 9 refinements. In other words, as long as any refining technique was cultivated to perfection, True Qi could be refined 9 times. Moreover, each refining technique yielded different effects when refining True Qi. So, after the True Qi realm, the attributes of True Qi among different martial artists would begin to vary. Because Lu Yun had cultivated the pure yang aura, his True Qi was extremely yang and aggressive, and he could only choose between the Ferocious Fire Refining Technique and the Golden Sun Refining Technique. The Golden Sun Refining Technique is more similar to the pure yang aura, so I'll choose that. Peak of the Meridian Passage realm, one can refine my True Qi now. When Lu Yun took out the Gale Thunder Flash Step and Golden Sun Refining Technique, the elder in charge of guarding the book collection pavilion glanced at him and nodded slightly. Top-notch martial arts originals are not allowed to be taken out of the book collection pavilion. Please wait a moment. The elder of the book collection pavilion put down 2 martial arts books, said a faint sentence, and walked inside. It only took him a dozen breaths of time before he reappeared with 2 gray-white booklets in his hand, the handwritten copies of Gale Thunder Flash Step and Golden Sun Refining Technique. Gale Thunder Flash Step costs 750 contribution points, and Golden Sun Refining Technique costs 1,000 contribution points. Also, these handwritten copies cannot be passed on or damaged. They must be returned within a month. Otherwise, you will face punishment, which may include expulsion from the Martial Academy and the revocation of your cultivation. The elder from the book collection pavilion spoke indifferently, seemingly not recognizing Lu Yun, the disciple who had become famous in the Martial Academy. Lu Yun responded, took out his identity token, and deducted 1,750 contribution points. With a heavy heart, he took his leave. Spending nearly half of his contribution points in one go, it would be a lie if Lu Yun wasn't feeling the pinch. This was just the beginning. 111 exchange for another sumi bag, and use the rest to exchange for pills. Lu Yun thought to himself. Having made the decision, Lu Yun quickened his pace and arrived at the weapon tower. Within 10 minutes, he left the weapon tower with a purple sumi bag on his waist, his contribution points decreasing by another 300. Afterward, he headed to the pill medicine building. Lu Yun's choice was still Meridian pills. Meridian pills cost 120 contribution points per bottle, and Lu Yun exchanged for 20 bottles. Originally, he was short of 5 contribution points, but after some haggling from Lu Yun, the result was self-explanatory. After one day of visiting the book collection pavilion, weapon tower, and pill medicine building, not a single one of his 4,000-plus contribution points remained. While Lu Yun felt heartache, he didn't regret it. He hurriedly left the pill medicine building and couldn't wait to go back and work on improving himself. In the cultivation room of his small courtyard, Lu Yun sat cross-legged, took out the meridian pills from his sumi bag, and prepared to convert them into energy values. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, there came a knock on the door from outside. "Who's that blind fool?" Lu Yun frowned slightly, feeling unhappy in his heart, but he still went to open the door. Creak. The courtyard door opened, revealing a somewhat familiar face. It was Mu Qingyun, the one who had troubled him time and time again in the past. "It's you, huh? What is it? Are you here to challenge me?" Lu Yun's mouth curved into a mocking smile as he spoke in a taunting tone. He had no good feelings toward Mu Qingyun in the first place. Adding to the fact that this guy had disturbed him without reason, naturally, he wouldn't treat him kindly. "Lu, my brother, there may have been some misunderstandings between us." Mu Qingyun's face was piled with smiles, appearing very bashful. If one didn't know him, they'd think he was a shy and reserved young man. "Oh, really?" Lu Yun leaned against the door, rubbing his chin with his right hand and spoke thoughtfully. "But don't we have quite a few misunderstandings? The first time was in Cloud Water County, and the second time was at the Myriad Phenomena Tower. In both instances, you initiated the trouble with me." Mu Qingyun revealed an extremely remorseful expression and said with a bitter smile, "Back then, I didn't know the height of the sky or the depth of the earth. Relying on my little talent and the lack of setbacks I encountered in Cloud Water County, I became arrogant and thought the world revolved around me. Because of that, I offended you, Brother Lu, and one truly shouldn't have. After entering the martial academy, one learned that there are people beyond people, and skies beyond the sky. I regret my past actions immensely. Fortunately, one realized this early enough and deeply understood that Brother Lu's talent and abilities are 10 times better than mine. Even if I can't befriend you, I shouldn't have offended you. That's why I came to visit and clear up the misunderstandings from before." Mu Qingyun didn't hide it, directly stating his intentions. Lu Yun observed Mu Qingyun with great interest, trying to discern something from his face and expression. To his disappointment, all he saw on Mu Qingyun's face was a sincere smile. Chapter 67. Small achievement in Gale Thunder Flash Step Sincere? Lu Yun hardly believed it. What a way to deceive children. However, what does sincerity have to do with him? From the beginning to the end, he never took Mu Qingyun seriously at all. At most, he found him disgusting when he saw him, and when he didn't, he completely forgot that such a person ever existed. B0XO. Calm, there were only other real dragons in a true dragon's eyes. As for the little snake that once mocked him from afar, it was always disdainful. Whenever he found the little snake annoying, he could easily kill it with a single squeeze. Since it's just a little misunderstanding, it's no big deal. You can go now. Having said that, Lu Yun glanced at the opponent and pretended to close the door. "Wait, Brother Lu, we are both from Cloud Water County. We may have our ups and downs, so I sincerely came to clear up the misunderstanding." Mu Qingyun squeezed into the doorway and took out a bottle of meridian pill from his breast pocket as he spoke. "Brother Lu, this is my sincerity. Please accept it." Upon seeing the familiar porcelain bottle, Lu Yun's eyes instantly glinted, revealing a smile on his face. "Haha, Brother Mu said so. If I don't accept it, it would be really hard to justify." Lu Yun exclaimed emotionally, "Haha, one kind of regret that our misunderstanding was a bit too small. Haha, Brother Lu is really good at joking. This bottle of meridian pill has already consumed most of my cultivation resources. If the misunderstanding is bigger, I'm afraid 111 have to go bankrupt. Seeing that Lu Yun finally showed a genuine smile, Mu Qingyun also relaxed. My place is a bit shabby, and one have nothing to entertain you with, so one won't keep you. After taking the meridian pill, Lu Yun issued the order to see the guest off. All right, 111 visit Brother Lu again when one have the chance. Mu Qingyun, quite sensible, left after saying that. Once he completely disappeared from Lu Yun's sight, the smile on his face instantly disappeared, replaced by a cold and murderous look in his eyes. Lu Yun, sooner or later, 111 take back everything I've lost, 10 times, even 100 times more. In the past, all he had lost was his sense of superiority. Now, he had lost his cultivation resources and even his dignity. Taking one last distant glance, Mu Qingyun resolutely turned around and left. If you really wanted to clear up the misunderstanding with me, it means you are a sensible person. If you thought you could dispel my worries with just one bottle of meridian pill, that would be interesting. Playing with the bottle of meridian pill in his hand, Lu Yun muttered to himself softly. After the brief interlude, Lu Yun returned to his room to start converting the meridian pills into energy value. 21 bottles, totaling 210 meridian pills. It would take some time to convert them all into energy value. All, if only one could refine them directly. Looking at the huge amount of meridian pills in front of him, Lu Yun deeply sighed. At first, he enjoyed taking the meridian pills, feeling like eating candy. But as he took more and more of them, he gradually developed an aversion to the pills. With an experimental attitude, Lu Yun activated his aggressive aura, wrapped a round and translucent meridian pill from his hand, and tried to refine it. +8 energy value. The sudden increase in energy value on the panel made Lu Yun startled. Soon after, a smile gradually bloomed across his face. Getting what I want, this panel is quite user-friendly. 5-star praise. Delighted, Lu Yun took all the meridian pills out, placed them in front of him, activated his aggressive aura, and began the refinement. In less than an hour, the 210 meridian pills had been completely refined by him, something unimaginable before. Accidentally discovering new features of the panel, his heartache from previously exhausting all contribution points instantly eased. Not needing to take the pill, being able to directly refine it into energy value, this discovery was very important to Lu Yun. Next, he opened the panel and looked at the information on it. Name: Lu Yun Faction, Flying Spirit Martial Academy, Martial Arts. Breaking Wind Saber Technique, Perfection, Unupgradable. Mix Origin Technique, Perceive Truth, Unupgradable. Pure Yang Aura, Perfection 5%. 7 Kill Saber Technique, Perfection 2%. Black Tiger Saber Technique, Great Accomplishment 13%. Innate Talent, Level 5 Martial Arts. Meridian Passage Realm Peak 12 Meridians. Energy Value 1680. It's time to upgrade the Pure Yang Aura and 7 Kill Saber Technique. No, these two consume a lot of energy value. I don't know if they can be upgraded to the highest realm. I need to upgrade the Gale Thunder Flash step to the small achievement level first. With my current aggressive aura, using the small achievement level Gale Thunder Flash step should be no problem. After pondering for a while, Lu Yun took out the Gale Thunder Flash step and began to study it. As his realm improved, so did his memory. After a short while, he had memorized all the mnemonics of the Gale Thunder Flash step. At the same time, the Gale Thunder Flash step, pre-entry, words appeared on the martial arts section of the panel. By consuming 25 energy value, a memory suddenly appeared in Lu Yun's mind. In the memory, he followed the mnemonics of the Gale Thunder Flash step, slowly groping and starting to practice. After 10 days of practice, his agility and speed increased greatly, and the Gale Thunder Flash step was upgraded to the entry level. After absorbing the memory, Lu Yun sensed a change in his body, becoming lighter. At the same time, the progress of Gale Thunder Flash Step on the panel was upgraded to entry level, 1%. After consuming another 50 energy value, a new memory emerged in Lu Yun's mind. In the memory, after practicing the Gale Thunder Flash Step to the entry level, he furthered his understanding of natural phenomena like wind and thunder with arduous practice for nearly a month. Finally, the Gale Thunder Flash Step was upgraded to the small achievement level. As the memory was absorbed, Lu Yun felt even more sensitive to the wind. Even inside the room, he could feel the flow of the wind. Lu Yun stepped out of the small courtyard and instantly vanished from the spot with the agility of Gale Thunder Flash Step. After leaving the living area of the elite disciples, Lu Yun fully unleashed the small achievement level Gale Thunder Flash Step. His speed increased sharply, like riding the wind and thunder, quickly leaving the valley and arriving at the back mountain of Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Is this the small achievement level Gale Thunder Flash Step? My speed is several times faster than before when one was at full throttle. The only drawback is the aggressive aura consumption. Half an hour later, from the valley where the elite disciples lived to the back mountain of the Martial Academy, his internal aggressive aura had been almost consumed by 10%. 10% of Lu Yun's aggressive aura was roughly equivalent to 7 or 8% of other martial artists of the same realm. This kind of consumption was terrifying. Only a freak like Lu Yun could handle it. No wonder the Martial Academy had such strict control over superior martial art. As he used the Gale Thunder Flash Step, Lu Yun felt his comprehension and control of it increase greatly, no longer as crude as it was at first. He had never been to the vast area of the back mountain. Lu Yun fully unleashed the Gale Thunder Flash Step, shuttling through the dense forest. It seemed as if there were flashes of lightning beneath his feet, and the violent wind constantly burned around him, leaving a long tail of flame. Chapter 68. Encountering Meng Hongfei again. Perhaps it was due to his good mood, Lu Yun felt the sunlight on the back mountain to be extremely bright and warm. He moved with his steps, running liberally and unbounded, sprinting across. After passing through dense forests and crossing valleys, Lu Yun arrived at a small lake. Without any hesitation, he dashed forward without stopping. One foot landed on the surface of the lake, creating ripples that spread outwards, and the next step followed, creating more waves that rippled away. Just like that, Lu Yun ran at lightning speed across the lake's surface. B0XO. Calm. If someone had seen this, they would be incredibly astonished that someone could tread on the water as if it were flat ground. Only martial artists at the Transforming Origin Realm and above could achieve this. Transforming Origin Realm martial artists have their true chi transformed into true origin, allowing them to control their bodies to a microscopic level, making it easy to tread on wave. As for Lu Yun, he was only at the peak of the Meridian Passage realm, and his current realm was 2 levels away from the Transforming Origin realm. Landing securely on the water's opposite side, Lu Yun turned back to look, surprise filling his face as head unconsciously treaded across several dozen feet wide of the lake's surface. It was simply incredible. Before, he had heard of powerful individuals using a single reed to cross a river. Now, without the aid of anything else, he could traverse several dozen feet of the lake's surface. Wouldn't that mean that now, he was even more formidable than those legendary reed-crossing individuals? Lu Yun shook his head slightly. Crossing rivers with a single reed was a story from the previous world's novels. In this fantastical world he now occupied, according to his current understanding of it, once martial artists reached a certain stage of cultivation, they wouldn't exactly be able to soar on clouds or leap through the fog, but traveling through the sky or underground wouldn't be difficult. The two simply couldn't compare whatsoever. Although the Gale Thunder Flash Step is important, my foundation is still aggressive aura and saber technique. Lu Yun scanned the surroundings, preparing to find a comfortable place to boost his pure yang aura and 7-kill saber technique. Just then, his ears suddenly twitched, and he faintly heard the sound of fighting in the distance, seemingly coming from the east side of the lake. Could it be that my luck is simply exploding, and one happened to encounter a legendary treasure-snatching murder? There was a glint in Lu Yun's eyes as he quietly sneaked towards the direction the sounds were coming from. Let's see if one can fish in troubled waters. Lu Yun hid himself in a large tree, gently pushing aside the dense foliage in front of him, his shining eyes spinning around. Fighting at the lakeside in the distance, two figures moved quickly, their swords and sabers clashing, creating a loud ringing noise. The powerful fighting fluctuations made the lake's surface turbulent and churning. Lu Yun's vision had greatly improved when he entered the intermartial realm, so he could clearly see even a mosquito a few hundred meters away. However, the two fighting individuals were extraordinarily fast, and coupled with the constant roaring of the air, even Lu Yun with his excellent eyesight couldn't make out their appearance for a while, only able to see the two shades, one purple and one white, flickering constantly. Nevertheless, judging from their figures, the two were not very old, most likely around 16 or 17 years old. But their strength was extremely formidable. From far away, Lu Yun could sense the strong auras emanating from them. Crescent moon cold frost slash. The white figure suddenly shouted. His sword light was like a crescent moon cutting across the sky, as if from a cold winter, sprinkling icy snowflake-like light. In a flash, the temperature plummeted. The powerful waves that were originally stirred up on the lake's surface suddenly solidified into clawed ice cones, whistling towards that distant purple figure. Startling swan annihilation slash. The purple-robed youth showed no fear whatsoever, wielding his saber with both hands. As the saber light burst forth, he slashed horizontally, the startling swan blade sweeping like a green dragon rising out of the sea. It conjured a fierce gale, carrying the invincible momentum of destroying everything, shattering the incoming ice cones. As their swords and sabers collided, the metallic clash echoed loudly, producing countless sparks as the sound pierced through the gold and cracked the stones. At the same time, the powerful saber chi and sword chi overflowed, causing the nearby lakeside vegetation to be reduced to splinters. After the two released their strongest strike, their figures flew apart. The distance between the purple-robed youth and Lu Yun's hiding place closed instantly. Huh? It's him. Upon seeing the handsome face of the purple-robed youth, Lu Yun finally recognized him. The purple-robed youth was none other than Meng Hongfei, who had presided over the assessments in Cloudwater County back then. Although several months had passed since then, that decisive saber strike that killed a transforming origin realm expert was still vivid in his memory. "Who's there? Show yourself." A chilly glint flashed in Meng Hongfei's eyes as he casually swung out a saber strike, sending out a several feet-long saber light with powerful force towards the tree where Lu Yun was hiding. Boom! The tree crashed down, with the saber light continuing to push forward, cutting a long and deep ravine into the ground. Seeing the neat cut and the several feet deep ravine on the ground, Lu Yun couldn't help but gasp. That was close. If his reaction had been any slower, he would have met the same fate as the tree. Whoosh! Meng Hongfei's figure flashed, landing in front of Lu Yun. He spoke coldly, "Who are you? Why are you spying on our duel?" Caught red-handed, all Lu Yun could do was chuckle embarrassedly. This junior brother has quite the skill, actually dodging that strike just now. It seems like it won't be long before the Star Palace gains yet another talented individual. The white-robed youth appeared beside Meng Hongfei at some point, looking at Lu Yun with interest, completely unconcerned about the previous encounter. This time, Lu Yun took a closer look at this youth, who was similarly talented in swordsmanship as Meng Hongfei. Dressed in snow-white garments with slender sword-like eyebrows, his eyes were as calm as a spring stream, feeling as gentle and refreshing as a breeze. With a slight smirk on his lips, the youth appeared carefree and flirtatious. Unlike Xiao Chen, this young martial artist didn't have the cold severity that the former possessed. The smile hanging on his lips made him more approachable. My apologies to the two senior brothers. While I was practicing my movement technique, I accidentally wandered into this area and was attracted by the noise of your fight. I never intended to pry on your duel in secret. Lu Yun apologized with a clenched fist. It's not a big deal. Brother Meng and I were dueling here just so we wouldn't be interrupted by others. Since you happened to come across us by accident, it can't be blamed on you, the white-robed youth said with a wave of his hand and a smile. Meng Hongfei carefully examined Lu Yun, and slowly, the cold expression on his face began to fade. He spoke hesitantly. Are you junior brother Lu Yun? Indeed, I am Lu Yun. Lu Yun smiled and said, I didn't expect that after such a long time, Brother Meng would still remember me. 1am truly honored. This was not flattery on Lu Yun's part. After entering the martial academy, his strength had rapidly increased, causing his height to grow considerably and for much of the childishness to fade from his face. If someone wasn't familiar with him, they might not recognize him at all. Meng Hongfei spoke with curiosity. Back in Cloudwater County, one predicted that you would make a name for yourself after entering the martial academy. But I never thought that not only would you make a name for yourself, but you'd also soar to the skies. Haha, Brother Meng is joking, Lu Yun replied modestly, without the slightest hint of pride. So you are Lu Yun, and you even know Brother Meng? The white-robed youth, standing off to the side, seemed quite amazed. Apparently, he had also heard of Lu Yun's reputation during this time. Chapter 69. The Woman in White. Last time I was on a mission in Cloudwater County, one took the opportunity to oversee the county's enrollment exam, and Lu Yun was one of the disciples who passed the exam there. Meng Hongfei explained casually, but he couldn't help but feel sentimental. One didn't realize that this was how you met. So, you could be regarded as Lu Yun's guide. However, you seem quite incompetent as a guide, nearly injuring our junior brother. The young man in white looked at Meng Hongfei with amusement, causing the latter to blush instantly. B0XO. Calm Meng Hongfei, usually aloof, showing such an awkward demeanor amused the young man even more and he burst into laughter. Then, the young man in white winked at Lu Yun and laughed. My name is Qin Yun, and you are Lu Yun. We both have Yun in our names. It appears we have quite a fate. We should get along well from now on. Haha, nice to meet you, senior brother Qin. In the face of such enthusiasm from Qin Yun, Lu Yun also felt a joy in his heart and greeted him with a smile. Meng Hongfei on the side, however, curled his lip disdainfully, saying arrogantly, If you're relating this with destiny, then there should be many fated ones in the martial academy. Oh, Brother Meng, are you going to continue the challenge? Well, the previous fight still doesn't have a winner. Let's continue. After saying that, the smile on Qin Yun's face faded. He became serious and made a gesture of drawing his sword. Hump! Meng Hongfei snorted coldly, crossed his arms, turned his face away disdainfully, showing an attitude that he couldn't be bothered. A breeze swept over the lake, causing ripples. Under the sunlight, the surface of the lake sparkled. Lu Yun stood aloof, hands crossed over his chest, quietly enjoying the show. He had accidentally witnessed the previous scene, and could only watch covertly from a distance, but now, he could watch the two compete openly. Whether it was Meng Hongfei or Qin Yun, he couldn't see through their realm. 3 months ago, Meng Hongfei was able to kill Transforming Origin Realm martial artists. Even if he isn't in the Transforming Origin Realm yet, he can't be far off now. Watching a battle between two people with such strength should provide some insight. At this moment, Meng Hongfei trembled and said with a strange expression, I just remembered an errand that I need to do. Let's postpone the fight for now, we will decide the winner on another day. After his words, he turned to Lu Yun and said, Junior brother Lu, we will catch up another day. With that, Meng Hongfei displayed his speed, turned into a white shadow, and quickly left. He left quickly, like he was running away. That's not his usual style. Looking at the vanishing residual image, Qin Yun stroked his chin, narrowed his eyes, and seemed to be lost in thought. As if sensing something, Qin Yun looked in the direction that Meng Hongfei had previously looked at. His body shivered suddenly, then he also burst out with speed, chasing in the direction that Meng Hongfei had left. Junior brother Lu, keep practicing. I'm looking forward to a good fight with you. The sound was still spreading by the lake, but Qin Yun's figure had completely disappeared from Lu Yun's sight. What are these two up to, disappearing on a whim and running so fast? Are they showing off their speed in front of me? Lu Yun murmured and was about to leave when he suddenly sensed someone quickly approaching. It was a woman in white, with her long black hair draped naturally over her shoulders, with skin as white and smooth as white jade. Under the sunlight, she had a crystalline luster. Her oval face and long eyelashes fluttering from time to time, with eyes that sparkled like crystals, were captivating. Seeing such a beautiful woman walking towards him, Lu Yun was somewhat puzzled and looked at her curiously. As for the woman, seeing only Lu Yun present, besides surprise, there was also irritation, although she did not show it. "Little brother, are you alone here?" The lady in white came over with a radiant smile on her face. Her eyes twinkled like they could speak, her lips vibrant red and tidy teeth white as pearls, were indeed captivating. "Hello, Mississippi. It's just me here." Lu Yun smiled shyly. Despite having killed many people with his own hands, his bright eyes were clear and intense, giving an impression of cleanliness and purity that made him appear naive and rustic. "For a shy little boy, you seem to be lying, and that's not good." The lady in white giggled, her eyes sparkling, and her white face glowed, making her appear even more charming. Lu Yun scratched his head, looking wronged, and said, "I'm not lying, I'm the only one here." Then he scanned the surroundings again to confirm he hadn't lied earlier. When he saw the woman in front of him, he quickly corrected himself. "Oh, one was wrong. There's now another person, that would be you." While he was speaking, his eyes rolled around, showing a clear look that naturally evoked trust and likability. However, in his heart he was thinking, Meng Hongfei and Qin Yun left in quick succession, as if escaping. Could it have something to do with this woman? Suddenly, the woman in white moved. Her white dress fluttered, and she seemed to teleport up close. Her pure white arm swung a palm strike towards Lu Yun, carrying a faint scent. Lu Yun was startled. Why did a casual conversation turn into a fight? But his reflexes were swift, and he wasn't the type to get hit without fighting back. As soon as he took action, the previous innocence and simplicity vanished, replaced by a sharp edge and fierceness. Bang! A strong aggressive aura exploded, causing the air to rumble. Lu Yun extended his right arm, drawing an elegant trace in the air. He gathered strength, and aimed to grasp at the gleaming jade-like arm of hers. Just as he was about to touch it, a powerful force erupted, flinging Lu Yun backward, his feet scraping a long mark on the ground. Lu Yun never imagined that such a beautiful woman would be so powerful, and he was unable to withstand even a casual palm strike. After Lu Yun was blown away, the woman in white didn't continue to attack. She simply smoothed her long, black hair, revealing her white, elf-like ears, and let out a charming smile. "Little brother, you mustn't lie to me anymore. Although you are quite capable, you wouldn't be able to handle me if one fully attacked." Lu Yun looked at the lady in white and said innocently, "I really didn't lie, it's only the two of us here now." The woman in white said nothing, but just wore a radiant smile, making Lu Yun uncomfortable. Out of options and inferior in strength, he could only pluck up his courage to say, "If I lie, may first be struck by 5 thunders." The lady in white chuckled and swept her autumn water-like eyes around. Then she said half-jokingly, "Don't tell me these signs of battle were caused by you alone. Besides, there are traces of sword chi here." "Oh, one see." Lu Yun responded with a delighted smile, then somewhat embarrassedly said, "Indeed, there were 2 people practicing their martial skills here before. But they have already left." Seeing the teasing smile on the woman's face, Lu Yun quickly added, "One swear one didn't lie to you. There really are just the two of us here now." Chapter 70. Pure Yang Aura perceived truth. Seeing Lu Yun's submissive appearance, the woman in white gave a charming smile. Her watery eyes glittered, making her look enchanting. The weapons used by both of them were a saber and a sword, right? Yes, I also know who they are, Meng Hongfei and Qin Yun. But just before you came, both of them quickly left, as if someone behind them was chasing them. Since it could no longer be concealed, Lu Yun simply admitted everything and sold Meng Hongfei and Qin Yun outright. Very well. They deliberately hid from me. The woman in white stomped her foot angrily, her eyes like autumn water blinked, and her smooth, jade face showed a hint of anger. Obviously, she was really getting angry this time. B0XO. Calm, a gentle breeze blew, and a few strands of her shiny black hair fell on her fair face, making her look very attractive. Lu Yun dared not look at her. He was already less powerful than her, and now she was getting angry. He didn't dare provoke her lightly. As one can see from Meng Hongfei and Qin Yun, who are more powerful than him, they run away from her as fast as rabbits when they sense her presence. As if recognizing someone was beside her, the woman in white quickly regained her composure. Her face was bright again, and she looked at Lu Yun and said, "My name is Qin Shuangxue. What's your name, little brother?" "My name is Lu Yun." Lu Yun answered quite simply, but he secretly complained in his heart. Women were such fickle creatures. One moment they were cloudy, and the next, they were completely cloudless. "Well, Lu Yun, you're a very clever little brother. I've remembered you." Qin Shuangxue gave a charming smile, and left a graceful silhouette for Lu Yun before disappearing. She ran so fast. On the lakeside, the blue water rippled, the clouds rolled in the sky, and Lu Yun's figure, which had gradually become more upright, gave a leisurely smile. His handsome face exuded a steady temperament, completely devoid of his previous childishness and innocence. Youth is great. With a sigh, Lu Yun's figure moved slightly, heading north along the lakeside. The encounter with Meng Hongfei, Qin Yun, and Qin Shuangxue was indeed a small interlude. This also made Lu Yun realize a reality. His improvement was significant, but there was still a long way to go within the martial academy. Whether it was Meng Hongfei, Qin Yun, or Qin Shuangxue, the strength of any one of them was superior to his current self. With the Gale Thunder Flash step, Lu Yun's speed was very fast, not much slower than Meng Hongfei and the others. Tall trees, bushes, strange rocks, and flowers all retreated behind him as he passed. At some unknown time, Lu Yun had reached the top of an extremely high mountain. Standing on this high peak, the chill mountain wind brushed unimpeded against him. With the wind as the horn of the mountain, the pine forest sang a soft rustling song, making Lu Yun feel the coldness of being at high altitude. But only by reaching the highest point can one enjoy the view of the smaller mountains below. Lu Yun looked out from afar to the nearby area. The four corners of the cliff on the mountaintop were steep. Strange pines formed a pavilion, with ancient vines entwining it. In the distance, the faint autumn mountains stretched out haphazardly, as if painted in ink. The continuous mountain range embedded in the horizon reflected a shimmering golden light under the sunset, making it extraordinarily magnificent, like a beautiful painting. Lu Yun closed his eyes, spread his arms, and enjoyed the cool breeze brushing against his face, basking in the last moment of sunset in the sky. It was a long time before the last ray of sunset disappeared completely from the horizon, and Lu Yun slowly opened his eyes, his gaze shining like stars and emitting a different kind of sharpness and edge. "It's time to upgrade my pure yang aura and 7-kill saber technique." Some time ago, he had raised his pure yang aura and 7-kill saber technique to the level of perfection, causing quite a sensation. If he upgraded them again, he had no idea what kind of commotion it would cause. To avoid causing unpredictable disturbances and attracting the attention of others, Lu Yun went on the run to find a suitable place to upgrade. There were very few people coming to the back mountain in the first place, and this was the most secluded place within it. This was the perfect place for him to improve his martial arts. With his previous experience, Lu Yun knew his bonus limit. Consume 20 energy value, pure yang aura upgrade to perfection, 15%. Consume 20 energy value, pure yang aura upgrade to perfection, 25%. Consume 20 energy value, pure yang aura upgrade to perfection, 95%. Consume 20 energy value, pure yang aura upgraded to reach profound, 3%. In the instant that his pure yang aura reached the reach profound realm, an extremely powerful force was born within his body. It immediately swept through his entire body, creating a thunderous rumble that caused surrounding stones to tumble and clouds to swirl. After half an hour, the thunderous rumbling finally ceased. A tough and broad meridian gradually took shape, with the vast and majestic pure yang aura flowing through it. The moment the 13th meridian was formed, the pure yang aura in Lu Yun's dantian suddenly increased by about 20%, surpassing the increase experienced after any previous meridian openings. What surprised Lu Yun was that this newly opened meridian was not among the 12 main meridians of the human body. The 12 main meridians, also known as the 12 regular meridians, are divided into the hand 3 yin channels, hand Taiyin lung channel, hand Juyin pericardium channel, hand Shaoyin heart channel, hand 3 yang channels, hand Yangming large intestine channel, hand Shaoyang Sanjiao channel, hand Taiyang small intestine channel, foot 3 yang channels, foot Yangming stomach channel, foot Shaoyang gallbladder channel, foot Taiyang bladder channel, and foot 3 yin channels, foot Taiyin spleen channel, foot Juyin liver channel, foot Shaoyin kidney channel. The limit for a martial artist to open is 12 meridians. Now, when Lu Yun raised his pure yang aura to the reach profound realm, he actually broke the limit of 12 meridians and created a completely new meridian. Excited, Lu Yun opened his panel. Name: Lu Yun of Force. Flying Spirit Martial Academy Martial Arts. Breaking Wind Saber Technique Perfection Unupgradable. Mix Origin Technique Perceive Truth Unupgradable. Pure Yang Aura Reach Profound 5%, 7 Kill Saber Technique, Perfection 2%, Black Tiger Saber Technique, Great Accomplishment 13%, Gale Thunder Flash Step, Small Achievement 1%. Innate Talent, Level 5 Martial Arts Realm, Meridian Passage Realm Peak 13 Meridians, 12 Regular Meridians, Ren-in Channel, Energy Value, 1405 Ren-in Channel? Seeing the change in the meridians on the panel, Lu Yun's expression became focused, thinking, could this be the Ren channel among the two channels, Ren and Du? In the Taoist cultivation system of his previous life, the Ren channel was the sea of Yin channels, and the Du channel was the sea of Yang channels. If both the Ren and Du channels are open, all meridians will be unblocked, not only improving one's cultivation progress by leaps and bounds but also improving one's physique. Thinking of this, Lu Yun was immediately tempted. Without hesitation, he continued to upgrade. He still consumed 20 energy value at once, but the progress of the pure Yang aura's cultivation only improved to reach profound 9%. In other words, at the reach profound level of pure Yang aura, it takes 5 energy value to improve 1 cultivation progress. This consumption was more than twice the amount consumed during the perfection stage. However, Lu Yun ignored the massive consumption due to his expectations for higher levels of pure Yang aura. In the end, after continuously consuming 455 contribution points, Lu Yun's body suddenly shook. Chapter 71. Level 6 Innate Talent Boom. Intense booming sounds continuously resounded in the air. At the same time, a terrifying aura fluctuation was generated from Lu Yun's body, forming a nearly substantial field around him. Such a powerful aura that even Lu Yun was greatly shocked in his heart. As the pure Yang aura rapidly increased and dispersed, A scorching heat emanated from his body and gradually spread in all directions. B0XO. Calm centered around him, a silhouette gradually appeared, giving off the sensation of a large sun hanging over the cliff top, shining brightly. The pure yang aura was excessively young, and under its rapid rise, Lu Yun was unable to completely control it, causing an overflow, as if being scorched by a large sun. He could clearly feel the rapid rise in temperature around him. If it weren't for the cold wind constantly blowing atop the cliff, he would be tormented by the horrendous heat, with his last disciples' clothing being destroyed. Several hours later, Lu Yun sat cross-legged atop the cliff's peak without moving, his mind immersed in the memories of digesting pure yang aura and elevating it from reach profound to perceive truth levels. After completely digesting the memories, he once again immersed his mind into his dantian. At this moment, his dantian was incredibly full, with pure yang aura continuously overflowing. Within his 14 meridians, the massive aura was like huge rivers, roaring violently as if it could break through the constraints of his meridians at any moment, wreaking havoc in all directions. Feeling the vast and arrogant aura, Lu Yun gave a faint smile. Everything inside his body was under his control. If his body was a territory, he would be the supreme ruler of that territory. Even the powerful and cheeky pure yang aura could not escape his grasp. With a slight movement of his mind, it seemed as if an unparalleled great force appeared, and the previously turbulent pure yang aura immediately became docile, obediently flowing through his meridians, pouring into his dantian, and then returning to his meridians in a continuous cycle. Lu Yun slowly opened his eyes. By that time, the round moon in the sky had already quietly disappeared, with a sliver of white gradually emerging atop the distant mountains. Immediately after, he once again focused his mind, directing his attention to the panel. First, the martial arts column showed that the pure yang aura had been upgraded to the perceived truth level and could not be further upgraded. Second, his innate talent had been directly upgraded from level 5 to level 6 without passing through the level 5 peak stage. Lu Yun speculated that for the panel, there was no difference between ordinary level 5 talents and peak level 5 talents, and there was no need to make a distinction. Of course, this was just Lu Yun's speculation. Next, his attention focused on the martial arts column. As expected, his realm was still at the peak of the Meridian Passage realm, but there was an additional meridian added, called the Duyang Meridian. Renin Duyang. I wonder what they have to do with the Run and Du meridians? Lu Yun also didn't pay much attention, muttering to himself before shifting his focus to the energy levels. Only 930 energy points left? The pure yang aura is too terrifying, consuming nearly 500 contribution points just to be upgraded from Reach Profound to Perceive Truth. While the frightening energy consumption made Lu Yun's heart ache, the sensation of his foundation becoming stronger and more terrifying erased all that heartache. The pure yang aura has already been upgraded to its limit. Refining the aura once more will allow me to ascend to the true Qi realm. There's no need to rush into advancing to the true Qi realm. My main task now is to focus on the 7-kill saber technique and the Black Tiger saber technique. Only by advancing both aura and saber techniques simultaneously can I maximize my strength. Lu Yun silently pondered, weighing the pros and cons. He was now at the peak of the Meridian Passage realm, with a foundation far superior to any other Meridian Passage realm martial artist. Logically speaking, even if he were to advance to the true Qi realm now, the establishment of a solid foundation would easily help him complete the refinement of his aura 9 times. However, his validations that others wished for were not what Lu Yun valued. It was a task he planned to accomplish effortlessly. From his perspective, mastering a state of mind during the Meridian Passage realm was the most important step. Continue to upgrade the 7-kill saber technique. After the pure yang aura advanced to the perceived truth realm, Lu Yun's physical body was nourished and greatly enhanced. Consume 30 energy points, 7 kill saber technique upgraded to perfection, 17%. Consume 30 energy points, 7 kill saber technique upgraded to perfection, 32%. Consume 7 kill saber technique upgraded to reach profound, cannot be upgraded further. At the moment when the 7 kill saber technique reached its limit, a deep red killing intent emanated from the peak of the mountain, turning the surrounding area of Lu Yun within 100 feet into a cold, icy region. Meanwhile, Lu Yun's consciousness was immersed in a suddenly appearing memory. This memory was very lifelike. It was more like an immersive experience than a memory. In the memory, the battered ground made a muffled groan under the charge of countless iron hooves. Lu Yun's consciousness descended upon a young general, leading his remaining 3,000 soldiers to fight against nearly 10,000 enemies. The wind grew stronger, the snow fell harder, and the weather colder. The fierce north wind whipped snow at the soldiers, their faces and hands already numb as if their bones had frozen. Even the horses, which dared not neigh due to the cold, could only gallop through the accumulating snow to withstand the harsh wind. Long ago, the banner became tattered and torn but still fluttered with the black flag amidst the gusty wind, never falling. Lu Yun was initially a little confused when he suddenly appeared on a battlefield so full of the scents and sights of war. The cold and heavy armor on the general's body, the undulating motion of the horses, and the sharp, shrill wind all contributed to the realism and gravity of the atmosphere. However, with the help of the system panel and memory, he quickly immersed himself in the role. However, he did not completely replace the consciousness of this general nor control the body his consciousness descended upon. He was both the general and a bystander. Nonetheless, the general's perception, emotions, etc. were all transmitted to Lu Yun. The invincible Black Flag Army. All the generals and soldiers, follow me and kill the enemies. The general that Lu Yun was possessing raised a blood-stained, cold and murderous saber, and spoke in a heavy voice. With these words, the faces of the 3,000 remaining soldiers showed fearlessness and unwavering determination. To survive on the battlefield, one must embrace the determination to die. This was their willingness to die in order to live, and the secret to the Black Flag Army's record of attacking without fail and winning every battle. Behind them were the pursuing enemies, while ahead awaited the well-rested adversaries. Kill! The moment the saber was drawn, all the Black Flag Army soldiers exuded boldness and were utterly fearless of the enemies waiting ahead like a coiled dragon. For those who survive this battle, you will be promoted by 3 ranks, it's a promise I will personally make. With that said, Lu Yun leaped into the air from the galloping warhorse, exuding an overwhelming presence that momentarily shook all the warhorses and Black Flag Army soldiers behind him. Immediately after, the morale of all the Black Flag Army soldiers soared, and a fearless expression filled their faces. As long as we have the general, the Black Flag Army will fight 100 battles without dying. Kill!